sure whether my sound's working right now. Oh, okay. So I'm not even sure whether my sound's working right now. Okay, so yeah, as you might be able to tell from that odd start, that we've been having a little technical trouble there with some audio, and I have absolutely no idea why that is not coming through. So the intro is dead, there's no sound to it. That is very concerning, and I have no idea why that's happening. I need to have a look and see what's going on there. In fact, now as I speak, I potentially have an idea of what might be the issue. So what will be interesting is I'm going to have to apologise for this start. We may end up having to stop the stream and restart in a moment, because I have a funny feeling I know what's going on. So yes, because that's on track 1. So hopefully I might know what the issue is. I don't think I can fix it currently. What will hopefully happen is the recorded version of this will still have all the sound if my theory is correct. But that shouldn't affect the two of us here in on stream. You should be able to hear us because it's all coming through that same microphone. So yeah, what an epic start. So anyway, let's restart, as it were. So welcome to Mead Gaming, and welcome to the Hobby Hall live stream on this Thursday evening. Now hopefully what you may have seen, or may see currently, is that we have a new setup. I've got some new graphics in place, which I'm quite happy with. I think they look quite cool. I've got a slightly new camera setup. I've actually got a higher quality camera here, which you will see in the bottom right hand corner here. And as you hopefully can see, my hand is coming through lovely and clear there. And what we should also find is that if I quickly grab one of these, hopefully these will sort of show up a bit clearer and crisper, which seems that they do. Obviously that's tiny in the corner at the moment. There is a full screen version, don't you worry. So what's going to be happening is I'm going to be painting some Night Lords, and before I get onto any of that, of course, I should probably introduce, shall we say, Els, my lovely assistant here, who you can see in the bottom left hand corner.
Hi.
Also known as the Flying Sea Snake on Twitch. Welcome.
Thanks. It's good to be after that little bit of a rusty start.
Yeah, there's a very rusty start. Hopefully the recording of this that will go onto YouTube will be slightly better. Hopefully it's actually recording the sound as it's supposed to be. I need to figure out what on earth is going on with the Twitch stream. I think it's basically feeding only one track into the stream, and I've got everything divvied up into multiple tracks because the recording of this is on multiple track levels. I may need to change that going forward to fix that problem, unless I can figure out how to get it to stream all the tracks. So yeah, this might have some. The actual stream itself might be a little bit quiet in places, which is a shame because I actually went to the effort of putting a backing track onto this. There is like a little bit of music that sits in the background. That is not available, sadly, for now. But hey, never mind. So, on to today's main event, really. So today's main event is going to be painting some Night Lords and a little bit of Warhammer chat, and I think there is a desire to do a certain topic that we kind of did last time, which will be going, our previous stream will be going on to YouTube probably this weekend. I'm still working out the schedule for where I want to sort of drop the content now, because what is effectively going to be happening now is that the streams will now run on a Thursday evening, hence here we are. Predominantly because I want to bring Els onto the streams as much as possible, as part of my streaming team, the team of two. And Thursdays generally, quite often, is an evening you get off from work. Not always.
Not always, but quite often, yeah.
Yeah, so what will probably happen is that I will run the Thursday stream regardless, and then if Els is not available for the Thursday stream, we will do an extra stream. where we bring elves on as well each week. So some weeks you'll get 2 streams, some weeks you'll get 1. That's just to make things work within our time schedules right now. Simple as that, really. So yeah, shall we have a look at what we're painting?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me swap over to the desk cam here. And as you can see now, you actually see both of us live in the bottom of the screen. What I might have to do is I might have to switch where my camera is. My camera looks okay there though. I do hunch over my desk a lot. So we'll see how that works. Yeah, I need to get a better desk chair for painting. I'm not going to lie. So just going to pop the top on the wet palette. I'll just do a shameless little bit of unpaid advertisement. Red Grass Games palette, which is what I'm using. Ignore the mess. It's a painting palette, they get messy.
Yeah.
So before me we have, so last time on stream we painted up, I think it was 10 sticks, so that would be 50 Space Marines, 50 Night Lords.
Yes.
Today I have 13 sticks. So that is, that's going to be about 65 Space Marines. And these are the special Marines, basically all the special ones. Obviously, previous up we also had the Plasma Gunners. They were kind of just chucked in there by accident. So this is the rest of the special troopers. So we've got some missile launchers, we've got some jump pack troops, Terminators, and we've got one of the 4 command stands that I've got to do. The reason I'm only doing one at the moment is because this is the only one that's going to have this commander model, which I will pop up here. There we go, there we go. So that's the only one that's going to be this particular model. We're going to 3D print some special ones for some variety to make them a little bit more interesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint sets of 4, and I'm going to paint this particular stand last because it's got lots of special guys in it. So yeah, and my goal for this stream is basically to see how many I can paint.
Yeah.
In the stream. I've cheated a little bit, as you might be able to tell. I've already kind of started the missile launchers.
I did notice a little bit of red on there, yeah.
Yeah, they've already got the red. I cheated a little bit, but you know,
nothing wrong with that.
I'm talking my way through the first 15 minutes or so of this stream, so you know, I'm giving myself a little head start. So I'm just going to pop these off screen out of the way for a minute, because we'll come back to them as we paint.
Yeah. So
I'm going to crack on and get painting and try and get myself into a position where I can actually paint on screen rather than off screen. I do tend to paint down here, which is interesting, so I might fiddle with the camera a little bit. So while I do that and get myself sort of bit better set up, Els, have you got anything you'd like to say while I mess around with cameras?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a little bit of a creative spike today, and I have finally named my Night Lord's character for the army. It took me... I had a name originally for him, and I forgot. So I had to rename him today. So his name is Atropos Calcula, aka the Rattle Plate, which was very kindly of Jamie to come up with that for me, seeing as his original name was the Teeth Puller, and that doesn't quite have the same ring to it. He is a captain. His typical group is called the Superiors, and they're
typical group.
Typical group. You know what I mean. His band of Marines. They are a special.
When you say his band of Marines, are we talking like his personal guard or his like company?
His
military
company,
force?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
painting my off screen.
He's gonna be a scary little bad boy. He has a innate obsession with his Primarch, which may or may not go down very well, because when I say he's obsessed, I mean he's like 24/7. The Night Haunter is all he thinks about, basically. He's got long black hair. He sharpened his own teeth to resemble his Primarch a little bit more. And he's basically spent the time that he's served in studying him, and refers himself as the Lost Son, which doesn't go down very well with his battle brothers. And a interesting tidbit that Jamie and I were discussing before we started streaming was that so I would like Atropos to have an ability where he can see other people's memories, but it's like the memories are his. It's almost like he has an ability of premonition, but it's more personal, and it's just like random. There's no sort of pattern, and it interferes with his sanity and stuff. That's all I've got for him so far. But what do you think, Jay?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
It certainly fits the Night Lord's whole trope of being sort of tragically affected by their own abilities and their sort of latent psychic potentials. And it's interesting that you've gone with the idea that he's obsessed with Conrad. I feel like that's almost a mirror of someone else I know.
Are you talking about me? That's not fair.
But you know, it's interesting because the whole concept of him sort of being plagued by visions and stuff like that can inherently mimics Conrad's own story anyway.
Yeah, which is that's the kind of irony that I wanted to go with. And I have, obviously, we are bringing Conrad back. Wow.
That's a bit of a spoiler, isn't it?
It is a little bit of a spoiler. Oopsie. I did a Tom Holland there, I think.
That's it. You're cancelled.
Oh well. But I have this image that is almost like mirrors the Emperor's relationship with Conrad. It's almost like the Night Haunter met the Emperor, and immediately the Emperor sort of had this disdain for him. So it's almost like if the Night Haunter does come back and he happens to meet Atropos, I almost want to mirror that, but with a little bit more of an extreme. So it's more that the Night Haunter looks at Atropos, looks at how he looks in appearance, and it's like looking in the mirror, and that's not something that Conrad wants to do. But yeah, so he is my newest creation. He is still very sort of cut around the edges, but I probably will put in a lot more detail the next time we stream, because I love my little bat boy. So and there's one thing that I do love, it is creating like lore and a backstory and stuff. So yeah,
that's quite a fun part of the hobby, I think. In
oh god, yeah, it's
Warhammer
probably my favourite bit, to be honest.
It does lend itself very well to the whole concept of fan fiction, really.
Yeah.
You do get to sort of create your own stories both while playing, but also when you're designing your characters and stuff. You can, I mean, there is a nice fun element to, say, narrative gaming, where your characters develop over the course of games. but it's also quite nice to be able to sort of go into an army with a character or two in mind.
Yeah.
That you can sort of set out to develop and tell their story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun part of the hobby in general. I've certainly done quite a few myself.
Yeah.
And I can see why you would be fascinated by that element of the hobby as well, because you're a bit of a fan fiction fanatic.
Oh, I think that growing up with like the sort of like 2016, 2020, that kind of era of the internet, definitely fanfiction was like definitely like a bigger thing. I never have actually read a Warhammer fanfiction though. I've written it, but I've not read it.
I mean, you probably have just not realised it, because it's not labelled as fanfiction, it's just people's own stories.
Yeah.
Which do crop up on occasion in certain wikis and videos.
Yeah.
And some of them do actually sort of become canon to the game. It's not unheard of. It doesn't happen all that often.
Yeah.
Generally do have to be someone sort of, I would say, a celebrity within the hobby for that to happen. For
Yeah.
Games Workshop to take an interest and actually include you.
Yeah.
But it does happen. I mean, Chris Peach from, well, his own channel now on YouTube, Peachy Tips, his custom Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum army is actually officially a faction now in Warhammer.
Oh wow.
I believe it was even featured in one of the previous codexes. I don't know if it's in the new one or not.
Oh.
The Ventrillian Nobles, which are his own invention, his own army, and they actually... I mean, he's formerly a Games Workshop employee.
Right.
But that's an example of someone's fan fiction who did actually become part of the lore of Warhammer 40k. So it does happen.
I feel like you probably have to be at a certain point where you're good enough to get that kind of attention, though.
Well, so I mean, it's probably a certain level of Warhammer celebrity that might get you noticed, and for that to happen. I mean,
yeah.
In his case, obviously, he was a Games Workshop employee, so that obviously helped, and he was also the face of Warhammer TV for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, the precedent's been set, is what I'm saying, and there might be other examples. That's just the only one I know off the top of my head.
It's funny you mention Warhammer TV, because I would like some more animations. Some more kind of hammer and bolter content maybe, or like another show like Angels of Death or something like that. Feel like it's been a while since anything new has cropped up on Warhammer TV like that.
Yeah, there haven't been any new animations for a little while.
No.
They did drop one new Hammer and Bolter one just before Christmas or just after?
Oh, I don't think I've watched that actually.
Have you not?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, there is one new one.
Oh.
But that is the only one they've released in quite a while.
Yeah, because there's a lot on there, but I haven't seen or heard about anything new coming on. But that's interesting. I might give that a watch then. To be honest.
It is pretty good. It's a completely different art style.
Yeah. They're all quite different though. They're all.
Well, no, the Hammer and Bolter ones have always been pretty consistent. But this is a Hammer and Bolter episode that's kind of shifted more into the newer art style rather than the older one.
Ah, right, okay. That makes sense.
But it's very good. It's quite short.
Yeah.
And there was a big sort of hype around it, because in one of the final scenes, it's kind of hinted potentially that a certain character in it might actually, well, I say character, certain entity that appears for seconds might have actually been Demon Primarch Lorgar.
Oh, now that would be very interesting.
Which, if it's true, is definitely a very classic Games Workshop way of hinting at the return of a Primarch a few years before they actually bring him back.
Oh, please don't bring back Lorgar, GW.
Why not? Lorgar's great.
Lorgar's great?
Lorgar's great. Great character.
You remember what he did, right?
Yeah. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the game. you got to remember, Lorgar made the Imperium what it is and also started the heresy.
Oh my god.
So without Lorgar, we wouldn't have the game that is Warhammer 40k. Or 30k, in fact.
I mean that...
Or Legions Imperialis. If you could say Lorgar is the father.
Oh, don't say
40K.
that. Don't put me off. Don't put me off it. It took you like 2.5 years to get me into it. I really wouldn't try and put me off it now.
No, once you're down the rabbit hole, that's it.
Yeah, no, I think even if I stopped playing the game, I would probably still be down the rabbit hole with the whole lore side of things.
Well, you better not stop playing the game.
Oh no,
Considering what I'm currently doing.
I'm not going to. I'm just saying that if I did, I think that I probably would still be stuck at the hip with Warhammer 40k.
I was going to say, I'm not painting a whole nother army if you just stop playing. This is army number 6 for Legions.
Is it?
Army number 6.
What armies have we got? We've got...
Have we got or have I got?
As a group.
Well, as a group...
Because you've got...
Ironically, as a group, I have half the armies.
Yeah. You've got Alpha Legion.
I have Alpha Legion.
Solar Auxilia.
I have my own Solar Auxilia, the Ethereum Auxilia.
And you have your Titan army.
I have my Titans, the Legio Invictorum.
Yeah.
Also a custom Legion.
Very nice custom. Your painting is absolutely gorgeous on all of your models.
Yeah.
Joe's got...
You haven't finished mine yet.
Have I not finished yours? What else have you got? I swear that you've got the 3. Oh no, you've got your knights as well.
I've got my knights, I've got House Dracaran.
Yeah.
And I have another one as well. One that you probably don't remember very well because I haven't used it in a very long time and it's a very, very custom army.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. You'd have to remind me, I can't think.
I've written custom rules for it.
Oh, your Necron army!
Yeah, I have a Necron.
Oh
Legions
my
army.
god, yeah, you have your Necron army.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those bad boys in about 6 months.
Yeah, they're kind of on the wayside.
It's been a while.
They're on the wayside. I really enjoy my rules that I've written for them though.
I don't. They're horrible to fight against.
That's why sometimes I let you play them.
Thanks.
I think they're quite fun actually. I don't think they're unbalanced at all. I mean, I've played against them and I can beat them. So.
And also the painting on them with all of the green and black is lovely as well. Yes. I remember you were very happy once you painted them.
Yeah, they are quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got Alpha Legion, Sofa Auxilia.
Solar.
What did I say?
Sofa.
Did I say Sofa? Oh, that's so embarrassing. Solar Auxilia, the Titans, the Knights, and the Necrons.
And the Necrons, yeah. And now I'm painting army number 6.
And now you're painting my army, which is my Night Lord's army.
Mm-hmm.
I swear John and Joe do have...
They have one each.
They've got one each. I think Joe has got Eldar.
He does, yeah.
And John has Word Bearers.
He does indeed.
He does have. So as a group...
Although half of those Word Bearers are currently painted as Iron Warriors. Which I think he sufficiently regrets.
Yeah.
For no other reason than he doesn't like painting Hassel Stripes, which is
I mean, I completely understand that because that sounds like it would be very frustrating.
It is not easy. I have done many a Hassel Stripe across various armies at various points in time and terrain. it's a painful process,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure that there's really that many ways of getting around it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do think, though, potentially, if you have the patience to paint the hazard stripes, the rest of painting Iron Warriors is actually quite easy, because they are predominantly just silver.
Yeah.
And maybe a few blacks and other metallics. So if the only thing you're concentrating on is the hazard stripes, and you have the patience for it, it's probably quite a nice army to do. If you don't mind painting hazard stripes. Because then the rest of it is quite simple.
Primarch of the Iron Warriors is Perturabo, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yep.
Not to be confused with the Iron Hands, which is Ferrus Manus is
indeed.
Legion.
Yep.
They're very different.
You're starting to learn who's who in the Primarchs.
I know which Legion is which. The only thing I still struggle with is what number Legions they are. The only the only four that I know off the top of my head are the Lion is the 1st Legion.
Yep.
The Night Lords is the 8th Legion.
Yep, sounds about right.
And the 2nd and 11th Legion are redacted.
Oh, so what you're telling me is of the half the legions you know the number of, the 2 of them are the ones that don't actually exist.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not quite sure that counts as knowing 4 legions numbers, but okay, I'll give you half a point for that.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like you cheated a little bit.
I'm pretty sure, like, Gilliman's is 11 or 12, something like that.
Well, you know it's not 11.
No, I meant to say 14, sorry, 12 or 14.
Do you know what? You're so close, you're going to kick yourself when you realise it's actually 13.
Do you know what? I had a feeling as soon as it came out of my mouth, it's going to be 13, isn't it? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Ultramarines are the 13th Legion.
Yeah. I've actually been on quite a Ultramarines kick at the moment. Mostly because I really want to sit down and play Space Marine 2.
It's a good game.
I mentioned it to you earlier, didn't I?
You did. It is a game that myself and John have played quite a bit. When it first came out, I have to say we haven't played it much since it came out. Would be nice to have a little go on it again at some point.
Yeah. No, I've watched quite a lot of content about it for the last sort of 2 days or something. And I just remembered I have the evening to myself tomorrow, so I might sit at the PC and play for a bit.
Well, you know where it all is.
But yeah, so I've been on a little bit of a Ultramarines kick of the past 2 days. So I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't know what Legion number they were, but you know, I'll get better.
I mean, in fairness, the Legion numbers don't come up a whole lot outside of the heresy.
No?
No, well, I mean, by the time of 40k, they aren't legions anymore, they're chapters, so Legion numbers don't really come up very often in 40k. But, you know, it's quite fun if you do know them. I mean, on a previous podcast, John challenged me to name all 20 legions where possible and in the correct order.
Oh, I don't know if I could do it in order.
And I think, if I remember right, I actually got 18 of 20. I think I only got 2 wrong. Might have not been quite that good. It might have been, say, 16 or something, but I got pretty close.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure I could name all of the Primarchs and their Legion name, but I probably couldn't tell you what number order they were in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we may test you on that one day.
Oh, God.
We may put you to the test and see whether you can name them all. But I ain't going to do it now for the mere fact that I'm busy painting and can't keep track, and in my brain I don't think I can hold all 18 in my head.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I'd have to have some way of marking it down so I know which ones you've covered and which ones you haven't.
Yeah.
So, but that could be a fun little side challenge at some point in the future.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd probably have to do a little bit more research on it just to cement it in my brain a little bit. But I did actually start reading the Son of the Forest today, properly. Because I think I mentioned on the last stream that we did that I have 3 Warhammer novels.
Yes, only 3.
He's using that tone with me because I bought another one.
Yep. You brought in 4th book.
I did. I'm going to start the Dark Imperium series. It was either that or I started the Horus Heresy, and as I said to the lovely man in the Warhammer shop, I'm not ready for that trauma yet. So I will read through the 4 books that I've got now and then think about starting the Horus Heresy. Maybe you'll be a bit further in your reading of it then as well. So
Maybe. I mean, I'm on a break at the moment, but yes, I am about 21 books in to the Heresy.
yeah.
They are great books. I needed a little break. It's a lot of space on this.
It was just like we were stood in the Warhammer shop, and the first book's called Horus Rising, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So I picked Horus Rising up, and the way I do it when I buy a book is I open the book, and if I read the first sentence, I like the first sentence, then I'll buy it. And I open the book, and the first sentence of, spoiler alert for Horus Rising, but if you've not read...
It's been out for 20 years.
Yeah, it's been out for 20 years, so if you haven't read the Horus Heresy yet, then that's
on you.
That's, yeah, completely on you. So I opened the book, and the first sentence of Horus Rising is, I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor. And I was just like, oh my god. But then I had like a horrible realisation that if I buy this book right now, I have to commit to buying them all because I will want to read them all. Like, as soon as the first one's gone, I will be straight back in that deep end. So I was like, maybe not.
What's really sad about that, right, is that anyone who's read Horus Rising, like I have,
yeah,
after hearing you say that, is thinking, oh, you definitely should have read it, because not only is that one of the best opening lines, but it's actually really ingenious because it's not what you think it means.
Oh well.
It is one of the best opening lines because you think you know immediately what it means. You're so wrong. It does not mean what you think it means.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have to see next time we go to a Warhammer shop whether I pick it up or not. But I haven't started reading Dark Imperium yet. I think I'm going to, because obviously I've got the Night Lord's Omnibus, which is quite a chunk of a book. So I think I'll probably read the Lion novel and then the Adeptus Sororitas novel that I've got, and then Dark Imperium whilst also reading the Night Lord's novel, just because it's so long. I definitely want to start picking up a book a little bit more.
Get the lore directly from the source.
Yeah, definitely. The Lion novel at the moment is really good. I don't know how long has that one been out, Son of the Forest, do you know?
No.
No.
I think if I remember right, the Lion came back at the end of 9th edition.
Right.
So
a couple years then.
Yeah, it's about 2 years or so.
Yeah.
Which is actually madness to think that we've had another Loyal Primarch now for like 2 years.
Yeah. Absolutely. But no, his novel's it's really quite good. It's sort of gripping from the start. He doesn't spoilers, but he doesn't know who he is at the moment, and it's quite jarring to read from his perspective, and he doesn't know who he is, and he's having like flashbacks of like memories and stuff, and he's trying to sort through all of it. So yeah, it's definitely.
See, my question to you, does he must, because I haven't read the book.
Have you not read the book?
I haven't read the book.
Okay.
And I will probably pick up an audiobook eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but my question is, right, because I'm assuming he's got dialogue, he speaks, yeah?
He speaks, yeah.
Yeah? In your head, is it Charles Dance speaking?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't know if I know what Charles Dance sounds like.
How do you not know? He's got one of the most distinctive voices.
I might have to find like a video clip of his
Tywin
voice or
Lannister.
something.
Just think Tywin Lannister.
Yeah, but I can't picture what his voice sounds like.
I mean, you shouldn't be picturing a voice.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Yeah, that. I just think if I read that book, if I like read the book rather than had an audiobook, I think I would read all his lines in my head as if it was Charles Dance. Even though personally, I think he actually looks more like, I think his name is Liam Cunningham, who plays the Davos in Game of Thrones as well.
Oh, see, now I can hear his voice in my head.
Yeah, I actually think the Lion's model looks more like him.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see that.
With the beard.
With the beard.
He looks more like Davos.
The moustache down into the beard, definitely.
Yeah, whereas...
With the blonde hair,
Yeah,
grey
I think
hair.
the blonde hair is what I think most people latch on to, and that's why they attach him to Tywin from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, although he's definitely nothing like Tywin Lannister.
No.
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 But yeah, so I'm enjoying that novel at the moment. Obviously I want to play Space Marine 2, been brainstorming my new Night Lord's character, so creatively, Warhammer wise, I have had a decent week, to be honest, and obviously you've had quite a good week as well, haven't you, with prepping and stuff.
Yeah, I've been doing lots of prepping and getting stuff sorted, and turns out, breaking things. But yes, no, it's been a week of getting stuff sorted and setting up.
Yeah.
Not too much in terms of painting and stuff, but obviously that's what we're here for today.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity as well, to sort of like multitask and that. It's definitely good.
Yeah, I do enjoy sort of painting or chatting.
I definitely
adds a nice social element to what can be what can be quite an isolated hobby.
Yeah.
Which is if you want that break and that time to yourself is great, but sometimes it's just nice to do something you enjoy with other people.
Yeah, and I definitely, I'm a bit weird. I quite enjoy watching you paint, to be honest.
No, there's nothing weird about that. I mean, I quite enjoy watching other people paint on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's kind of cathartic.
Yeah, definitely. But those little bat boys are looking very blue at the moment.
Yeah, well, they will get a black wash at some point, which will darken it down quite a bit.
Are you using null oil?
Not currently, I will be. That's the wash that will be going on. Currently I'm using Black Legion contrast to do all the black details.
Yeah.
I'll just show you this one in a sec, because these guys have just had all the black done on them now. If it'll focus. Come on. Focus. I demand you focus. It's not listening to me.
Oh, there we go. Sort of.
It might focus a little bit. I need to get like a backboard or something to put behind it. I wonder, I've got a little bit of random cardboard here. I wonder if that's got loads of text on it. That won't help. Is that going to help?
Oh, there we go. That's better.
It's looking a bit dark on my screen here, but yeah.
He's just a little guy.
They are coming together. So yeah, so now almost all the blacks, and I've just got to fill in between the legs of the others. Now it's on to some metallics.
For the guns.
Indeed.
The guns.
Guns, the power packs, and then the sort of studs on one of the shoulders. And then after that, that's more or less them done really. It'll be a wash, and then once the wash is dry, they go back in and do some little lightning bolts here and there.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, these are almost done basically. I mean, they don't take very long at all. One of the reasons why I like doing small groups of models, because you actually you complete things quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd done all 12 of these stands in one go, I'd be sat here for ages just doing the black, and that can be quite demoralising after a while.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Some people, that's just the way they paint. They like doing it that way. I don't. I get very demoralised very quickly with long paint streams.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit crazy to do like one model at a time rather than doing them in small groups as well. Especially at this scale.
At this scale, yes. At 40k scale, or 28mm scale, I have thought about doing models one by one.
Really?
Yeah, just because, like I said, you get that sense of accomplishment because you'll finish a model, every couple of hours or every hour if you're really quick. Whereas if you were to do, say, 10 models, it could take you 10 hours to get anywhere. You have to sit and work on it for 10 hours to get a finished model.
Yeah, I suppose that's always the risk, isn't it?
Whereas if you do it individually, you only might spend an hour and you actually have a fully painted model by the end of your hour. There's something about having something finished. It just helps with the motivation.
Yeah, definitely.
I've done batch painting where I've done 10 models at a time. I've even done batch painting where I've tried to do 30 models at a time. I hated it.
Yeah, I am not surprised in the slightest at that. Wow.
Whereas whenever I've done I last time I was painting 40k, I had gone down to just doing 5 models at a time, which was okay. Again, I still found it quite tedious though, at points, and difficult to get through. When I've done a handful of vehicles, because I don't own many vehicles at 40k scale, I've always enjoyed those. I've always thought, that's quite fun. That was quite easy, because again, you see progress constantly because you're just working on the one model. And I really learned when moving into Legions, like painting my Titans and my Knights. The Titans I paint individually, and it was really nice. It was really fun just to paint up an entire Knight in one sitting.
Yeah.
The Knights, I did batch paint them to a degree, but I did it like this. I would paint one Knight completely up until the wash stage, wash it, then move on to the next one. And go like that, and that to me was quite nice.
Yeah.
As a way to paint.
No, I get that. That's a lot easier. Yeah.
The most tedious one night I had to paint was the armigers, because I've painted 18 of them, and I painted them in 2 batches of 9.
Wow. And they're so they've got quite thin parts on them as well.
Yeah,
they're so
they are
fiddly.
Very fiddly by comparison to the rest of the Knights. And yeah, doing 9 of them in a batch was probably the edge of fun, shall we say.
Yeah.
But, I still quite enjoy it. In fact, I think I may have painted all 18 of those on streams as well.
I know you definitely painted some of them, because I'm pretty sure John was with you on that episode.
So one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure I have actually painted all 18 of them on stream at some point.
Yeah.
I think Yeah, I've painted most of my knights on stream, actually. I think the only ones I didn't paint on stream were my Knight Lancers, I think. Possibly the Questoris as well, although I think I did some Questoris on stream, but I might be wrong. I know I've done Pytherions on stream, and I know I've done the Armigers on stream.
Yeah. And now I've obviously doing my Night Lords.
Doing your Night Lords, yeah. Night Lords infantry at the moment. I'm going to get all these boys done. Then I've got a series of tanks to do. I love painting Legions tanks, they're so easy.
Yeah.
They're so fast, I can paint an entire tank company in an afternoon.
Wow.
Painting infantry, but much like 40k, is the more tedious of the things to paint. But especially in Legions, you can paint entire units of tanks really fast.
Yeah.
So I quite enjoy those. Yeah, well, once I've done these infantry and your tanks, I'll have painted pretty much your entire army.
What I've got at the moment, yes. Oh, and I've got knights as well.
You have got the knights,
but I need to. That's on my list for the next creative thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, so
is going to be coming up with a night house.
Yeah, so I probably won't be touching those knights for a little bit. But I have got some other little projects to work on for your army.
Yes.
Which you haven't actually seen yet.
No.
No. One you have seen, which is we've got a little Legion scale Conrad Kurz.
Yes.
Which I will obviously be painting up.
Yes. Very, very exciting.
But I have also, yeah, you haven't seen these yet. I have printed up. This is probably not going to show up very well on camera at the moment, but it's a little Conticar Terminator.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So one of those. And do not ask me what they're called.
I mean, I might know.
I have no idea.
I might know.
But these are the Night Lords jump pack dudes as well. That's one with a little chain glaive.
Wow.
With his little bat wings.
Oh, that is wonderful. I'm so happy.
So I have even more infantry to paint. But yes, you've got another wave of infantry as well after these.
I'm so grateful. You have no idea.
So yeah, you've got quite a little bit for me to finish up.
I was gonna maybe pick up a box when we went out the other day, but we didn't leave with anything.
No,
for the first time in like forever that we've been to our local game store. That was a bit strange.
Sadly, there wasn't really anything to buy.
No, not really.
Nothing that was interesting really, or anything that we knew we wanted or needed. I mean, I was very tempted to pick up another Warlord Titan. I was very tempted.
You were very tempted. And I did say you could grab it, but you were.
Nah, not at the moment. I've still got your army to paint, and I still have 3 massive waves of reinforcements for my 3 main armies. And yes, I do have 3 main armies.
You have the 3 main ones that you bring together to create a massive one. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I have my sort of super faction.
Yeah.
And then I have my three main armies that fit within that, and then I also have the Alpha Legion, which are my special little add-ons, because I like Alpha Legion.
The jump pack boys that you've got for me are called the Night Raptors.
Night Raptors.
The Night Raptors.
Right, you've got Night Raptors.
Yeah.
Which
very exciting.
Which for now we will just run them as normal jump pack marines, and we'll run the Terminators as normal jump Terminators for now.
Yeah.
But we will come up with some cool special rules for them.
Thank you.
just to make them feel a little bit more special.
Yeah.
But I've got to do some thinking on how I'm going to do that.
Some thinking.
Because I'm not quite sure how I want to deal with specialist units yet.
Yeah.
Because there's not quite enough granularity in the rules for me to just say, oh, these guys are, better in combat in this way and stuff like that. But it doesn't quite work like that. So I've got to figure it out. And I'm still playing with the idea.
That's okay. I mean, I've got plenty of time, whilst you're still painting things up.
I've got loads of time. Don't worry about that. I'm not worried about that. Although I have a funny feeling I will end up painting your army pretty quickly. I reckon I'll have all of these done probably by the end of the month.
Yeah, you'll probably have all of the boxes that I've
your box,
got. Yeah.
Not mine.
Yeah, but you will also have more, because that was the deal, was that if you paint my army for you, then I will...
If I paint my army for you?
Oh my goodness. What is going on with words today?
I don't know, but
if
you don't
you
seem to be
paint
able to work.
my army for me, I will buy you boxes of plastic crack. That was the deal.
Yeah.
So, if it means I don't have to paint them, and you can have whatever you want. You can have as many Titans and Knights that you want. So
this is the great thing about having a partner that's in Warhammer who doesn't like painting, is you can extort them to buy you more plastic to paint their plastic.
yeah.
Which, do you know what? I'll take, because it means my models are free. It's not that, because it just means I'll buy more. Because I will then buy my own set.
Yeah.
And then have twice as much to paint.
You had a voucher to buy more Warhammer, didn't you? Have you spent it yet? Have you got boxes yet?
I may have already done that.
I knew it.
And you may not have already noticed, but the box is open there. It arrived days ago.
Oh, I'm seeing it now. What's in there, Jamie?
It's a box.
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 Can I open it?
I suppose so.
Is it the small one on top?
Yeah, the big one is empty.
Huh?
The big one's empty. Just don't put the label on camera, please.
No, I'm not going to flash people our address, don't worry. How do I get into this box? It's got shadow tape on it. This is when I need my box cutter from work.
That sounded violent.
No, it was just the pen lid going through the plastic. Ooh, there you go. Get this bad boy open.
Get a live unboxing now.
Yeah, why not? Jamie.
Yeah.
It is a Solar Auxilia battle group. Look how pretty that box is.
Yeah, that's my second battle force.
Look how pretty she is. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about the box. Look. Oh my goodness. This is the thing. Like, genuinely, for a box this big, right? You do get a hell of a lot.
You do get quite a lot of plastic in that box.
I mean, you've got...
It's about 1,300 points, give or take.
In one box.
In that box. Yeah.
One box. Which is interesting that this is your second box, because that means that you've got 3,000 points nearly alone.
Yeah, I got more than that.
Oh my goodness, of course you do.
Because I also had 2 starter boxes, which each came with no, probably about 1,000 points.
Wow.
So yeah, I have probably nearly... Actually, I also got all the flyers and stuff at Christmas as well.
You did, yeah.
So my Solar Auxilia now are probably my largest army, because I probably have close to 5,000 points.
Itty bitty humans.
And I just have loads of them.
itty bitty tanks on those bases.
Which ones?
These ones down here.
Those are called Cyclopses, and they're not strictly speaking tanks. They are bombs on tracks.
Oh right, they look like tiny tanks. That's why I asked.
Yeah. They're basically moving landmines.
All right, okay.
You literally just drive them up to the enemy and let them go bang.
Why not?
And what I like about them is, one, you can take them as a support slot, which means I can do some funky things with detachments, formations. But what I like about them is you get two versions of them. And there's a version I rather like because it has the Demolisher trait. Yeah. So you can just walk them up to a building and blow it up.
Right.
You can just drive up to a building and just nuke it. It's just funny.
Yeah.
And we all know how much I like destroying buildings. In-game, not real life.
Oh,
probably should clarify. Just in case.
I'm having your Element Games suite as usual.
Yeah. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
Although we wouldn't say no, because we do like buying from Element Games a lot.
We do. They are a great supplier.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's also worth noting, anyone who wants to get into Legions and is interested in Solar Auxilia, you want to pick up that box right now, because I bought box number 7. There's only 6 left on that store, and as far as I know, Games Workshop aren't making them again. I'm not going to lie, if I had more money, I'd probably buy the rest. Because it's a really good value box. But, yeah, I'm not going to. I've already had 2. I feel like I've had my share.
This is a good thumbnail. So there you go, guys. It's your first Mead Wargaming unboxing.
It's more like an unveiling, but it's also not the first.
Oh. I thought I started a new trend. That's so unfair.
Nope, I've unboxed a few models on stream, including some of yours.
Okay.
I have unboxed some. I think I unboxed your Kratos tanks on camera.
Oh.
Yeah, in one of my previous streams, I actually built your Kratos tanks.
Hmm.
Same day I built your Land Raiders, but I built the Land Raiders off camera.
Yes, you did. I do like my little Land Raiders.
They're quite good, actually.
They are quite handy to have in game.
I've still got to try the Solar Auxilia Dracosians out, which are the Solar Auxilia's equivalent, basically. I say the equivalent.
What, of a Land Raider?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, they're a bit bigger and bulkier than Land Raider. Because your Land Raiders are about half the size.
Oh.
Which is impressive, actually, that the Solar Auxilia has an even bigger transport. Although,
well, they probably need to cart around a little bit more, don't they? Humans are tiny, so.
Yeah. But in fairness, they haven't released it, but I'm hoping they do at some point. The Space Marines do have a really big transport.
Mm.
So you got the Land Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
The next size up from that is the Spartans,
mm-hmm.
which are basically just big Land Raiders.
And I want a couple of, to be honest.
Yeah, they are quite cool.
Yeah.
But they have something even bigger. They have a super heavy transport. A non-flyer one, anyway. They have flyer ones too, but
what's that called?
It's called a Mastodon.
A Mastodon? How do you spell that?
Well, the name is like a prehistoric mammal.
Do they have models?
They do have models.
Can we get them? Can we have a look at them? Because I've never heard of them before.
Let me just go to the browser cam. There, we've just hinted at something coming later.
Oh no, spoilers!
Let me just see. So let's go. Let's see if I can find it, because I'm assuming they still sell it.
Is it a heresy thing? Is it?
It is a heresy thing, because again, most of the kits for Legions are based on heresy.
Yeah.
I say most, all. So for example, actually I'm saying example, there aren't any here. There's some Land Raiders. We haven't had that released yet. The Typhos Heavy Siege
Scorpius.
Gun. Yeah, that's their sort of artillery piece, which we haven't seen yet for Legions. That is. There's a Spartan Assault Tank. There. That's your big Land Raider. There's your Sakarans, which you like.
I do like Sakarans.
There's a big old Kratos on the right there. Probably isn't going to show up on screen very well at the moment because I've got it narrowed in for this screen rather than this one. So hopefully it'll be in the middle somewhere. There are 200 odd things. There we go. It's on the far left. Is it going to show up on my screen? Probably not. I'm going to have to try and
I'm sure
do
if you
this.
click on it, then you can...
Let's see if I... Ooh. Is it going to work? No, I'm moving it across and it's not working. Yeah, if I click on it and center it, there we go. Hopefully that comes up.
Oh, wow, that is a chunky monkey.
It is a...
Oh!
It is a brick.
I just saw the price.
Just seen the price? Yeah.
So that's for 30k?
That's a 30k kit. That is a resin kit from Games Workshop Specialist Games Team.
£400.
£400 of resin.
That's half of our rent. Do you know what I mean though? Like that's insane.
Yeah. That bit of resin is, yeah, as you're saying.
That's like a quarter of my paycheck. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it could be. Yep, it's a chunk.
What are the weapons like on it? Does it have like anything special, or is it just like a normal?
I don't know a
heavy
whole lot
assault
about
tank?
it. I mean, I can tell you just from looking at it that these things are some kind of melter weapon. One looks chunkier than the two side ones, so probably some kind of special melter weapon. That's just a standard Sponson loadout. Looks like it's got a flamethrower on it. That's got a Sponson las cannon on it. Not really sure what these things are up here. They don't look like anything I'm particularly familiar with. Maybe some kind of rapid fire autocannon potentially.
I was gonna say an autocannon actually, yeah, because it's got
only because of that ammo drum there. But the barrel is more like an assault cannon, so it's a bit odd. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. Those two nodules there, those are void shields. So
a tank with void shields. I've
Yeah.
never even heard of it.
well, you must have done because the Stormbird has void shields on it, and that's the Space Marine flyer I made.
Yeah, but that's a flyer. That's not a tank.
It's a vehicle. So anyway, I'm going to pop it back there, and we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Well, it's only fair. I spoilt something, so you spoilt something. We're even now.
I mean, I already mentioned that might be a thing anyway. Well,
Might be.
I mentioned the possibility of something that we had done last week, and anyone who had seen last week would have probably known what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And anyone who hasn't or didn't won't know what that really is about anyway. So no spoilers. So I'm scot-free. You're still in the doghouse.
Oh well, I've only spoiled it. I've only spoiled my own army. It's not like I've spoiled someone else's. So.
True. So yeah, that is the Mastodon. So yeah, that is something that hopefully may appear in Legions at some point.
Yes.
I'd imagine that'll be one of the chunkier kits as well because it's quite big.
Yeah, it looks to be quite a lot of work as well.
Yeah, I think in rules, I think it holds like 50 Space Marines.
Wow.
Yeah, it can transport quite a few Space Marines.
That's quite a big deal if that's what it can do for Legions especially.
Well, and it's got the void shields on it, which will make it slightly more survivable as well.
Yeah. But if you think 50 Space Marines, that's what, 10 bases?
Yeah, that's exactly 10 bases.
Like, that's a lot to just
Yeah, one vehicle that can transport
fly onto the table. Like,
10. One vehicle that can transport 10 of your bases.
that's 2 units.
Well, it could be one unit.
It could be 1 unit, yeah.
one detachment, because you can, I think, take about 10 bases in an infantry detachment if you max it out.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's quite significant.
They definitely need to bring a couple more bits and pieces out for Legions, I think.
They're not missing too much now, really. In terms of Space Marines, they've done most of it. Like, they've got no artillery tanks yet. A few of the variants of some of the tanks, I think, are still missing, and they're also missing their super heavy tanks.
Yeah.
Because those Kratoses you've got, they're not actually super heavies.
No.
Like my Baneblades, for example, those are super heavy tanks. The Kratoses aren't on the same level. They're sort of like the middle child, if you like, between a normal battle tank and a super heavy.
Yeah. Speaking of those Baneblades, I was really surprised to see how huge they are for 40k.
Oh yeah, you've seen one. Well, you've seen the box, haven't you? I don't.
I've seen the box.
You
yeah.
You haven't actually seen it.
I have not seen it assembled. No, I don't know how big they are assembled.
Mind you, you probably would have done it when we went to Warhammer World a couple of years ago.
Probably, I just probably wouldn't have known I definitely wouldn't have known what I was looking for back then.
No.
They
are. I used to own one. Long time ago.
Yeah.
They are big, chunky tanks. They're like the size of one of our dinner plates. Yeah, they're big.
I can't imagine painting that.
I never did.
Oh.
It was just grey plastic. I never painted it. I was a teenager who liked playing the game, had no interest in painting.
Well, yeah.
I think I ever painted a handful of things. Not very well either.
It was funny because I saw a Warhammer meme earlier today where it was a little comic strip that somebody had done where it was this group of Space Marines had become heretics and were rebelling because they were unpainted. I thought it was really funny.
So this is the missile team.
Hells yeah.
It's a bit annoying that the camera's not focusing too well on the model there. I'm trying to get it to focus, but it doesn't want to.
Move it a little bit further away, maybe?
I can't wait up close so you can actually see it. But I need like a little bit of black card or something to try and. I've got a bit of cardboard that's got a load of paint on it. Let's see if that helps.
It's a little bit darker, so that might do the job. Let's see. It's a little bit better.
A little bit. Bit hard to see. I will need to endeavour in getting like a back board or something.
Oh. That's probably the best I'm going to get it.
Yeah. The only problem with these teeny tiny miniatures is they're hard to show off.
They are, yeah.
Certainly live anyway. But yeah, so they're pretty much ready now. They're going to have a wash done on that set there.
Mhm.
And once that's done, I think I've got on these. To be honest, the only thing really left to do is potentially pick out the missile tips, make them stand out because that's what I've done with Alpha Legion, and probably do something with the sergeant's little Auspex scanner. I put a little bit of colour or something in there just to make it stand out a bit. But other than that, and doing the lightning bolts on one model on each stick.
Yes.
That will be the missiles all done. Which has taken, by the time I finished doing the rest of the types, would probably have taken me 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, hour and a bit. Yeah, they've taken a bit longer than usual, but then again, unlike the tacticals I was doing last time, which are very quick, very simple, and pretty much the same every time.
Yeah.
These are a little bit more complex and got a little bit more detail on them because of the size of the missile launchers and stuff. So these are taking a wee bit longer.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad. And again, having nearly finished basically a unit of troops in this time is quite nice.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to get the 60 odd Space Marines done in this stream. As much as that would have been quite nice to be able to say I could paint 60 Space Marines in 2 hours, I don't think that's going to happen.
I think 20 is still a good amount, though.
Yeah, 20 in a couple of hours, not too bad.
And they've got fiddly bits as well, so it's not like...
Yeah, these are the more fiddly of the infantry models.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So
they are some of my favourite infantry, though.
Yeah, they're a little bit too strong. No, they are. They're way too strong for their points.
They are a lot.
I definitely think we'll be modifying these guys to hit on 5s. Because one, they are way too good for the points value. But
Yeah.
also because they're just, as they are currently, you'd never take plasma guns over these guys. Ever. You just wouldn't. Whereas if we make these hit on 5s, suddenly the plasma guns become an option.
Mm.
These are still good. If they hit on 5s.
They still hit hard, don't they?
They still hit well, they still hit hard, they've still got good range, they can still target infantry and tanks and even titans and still do damage. But hitting on 4s for these guys is too strong.
Yeah.
Way too strong. They should be hitting on 5s, or you have to make them worse. And I actually don't want them to be worse, I just think making them hit on 5s is the right way of going.
Yeah.
So it'll make it a bit more of an option then. Because it's just a little bit too much, I think. A little bit too much. Yeah, these guys can ignore cover when they're shooting at infantry. It's just too good.
Yeah.
It's too good. Ignores cover's really, really strong against infantry.
Yeah, I feel like that should only be something that is like a vehicle or like a walker or something like that. Or like ignores cover.
Ignores cover's not the issue. It's the fact that it ignores cover on a 20-inch range 2-shot weapon.
Yeah.
That hits on 4s. It's just way too good. They're like, I think it's like 15 points ish per 2 bases.
Mm.
So you're talking like 30 points for all of these missiles. That's that's 8 ignores cover shots.
Yikes.
Which in Legions is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shots. With ignores cover hitting on 4s. And hitting on 4s to 40k players sounds probably pretty naff. Hitting on 4s is really good in Legions. Most things hit on 5s.
Yeah.
Like most weapons in the game hit on 5s.
I don't think anything really hits on a 2, does it?
There's a handful of Titan weapons that hit on 2s.
Yeah.
But they are normally
but there I
quite
see
specialist weapons.
I'm very much still of the opinion that Titans are still very overpowered.
They're far from overpowered.
Oh.
They are far from overpowered. Don't get me wrong, I think they're quite good, but they are far from overpowered. They are. If you know what you're doing, they're surprisingly easy to get rid of.
Maybe I just don't know what I'm doing when it comes to a Titan then.
And even if you don't worry about getting rid of them, so long as you're not letting them kill you, you're probably fine, because you'll be able to outpoint them quite easily.
Yeah.
By outpoint, I mean scoring, guys. Yeah, they are not that bad at all. It's just how you deal with them.
Yeah.
Or how you choose to ignore them.
Yeah.
I think you're a little bit jaded in the sense that there's been a couple of occasions where you've decided to walk half your army against a War Master. And the War Master packs enough guns to wipe out half an army. And did.
Yeah, that's happened to me twice now, and I have learnt that that is not the right thing to do when it comes to going up against the Titan. It's much better to sit back as far as possible and either avoid them or shoot with long range guns.
It's more of a case of just picking your targets and making sure you know you can bring it down.
Yeah.
And certainly don't put the guns out that can't damage it. and let it just free shoot things that can't shoot it back. There's some nuance to it. But that's the nature of Legions, really. It's the same for most things. It's just the Titans are punishing if you don't pay attention, because they just have enough firepower to do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Some of them, anyway. Not all of them. Like the bigger Titans definitely do. The smaller ones are a lot less.
Yeah.
Oppressive.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the Warhounds are honestly that scary, to be honest.
The smaller Titans.
Yeah.
No, not as scary as Big Mama. She's very, yeah. I soil my britches when she gets put on the tabletop. Obviously the War Master is a beast, but she is the one I worry about when you put her on the table.
Really?
Yeah.
The War Master's bigger.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure her...
The War Master is the one that wiped out half your army. Twice.
I suppose I could have gotten
my Warlord hasn't been anywhere near as oppressive against you as the War Master has. But I think
I don't like any of the Titans that you bring on to the table. I always put my pants whenever they're put up against me.
I mean, I haven't put the Titans on the table for a little while yet. For a while.
No, you've been using your Alpha Legion, haven't you?
Nope, you've been using my Alpha Legion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because I've been using.
You've had to use my Alpha Legion to practice playing Space Marines.
Yeah, I've just not been using flyers.
No, we've
because we came to the conclusion that the reason why I was struggling with playing Legions was because the flyers were too tricksy for me, and
so
I was getting a bit caught up with...
My Alpha Legion is very much designed around the whole drop infantry style, coming in flyers and stuff like that, which requires a little bit of... quite a bit of understanding of how the game works and tactics and the way to sort of manoeuvre them to make them work.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy. That's something that I'm quite good at, and I enjoy that. That's something that, as someone who's still quite new, is going to be quite hard for you to get your head around to start with. So yes, we discovered that perhaps maybe running my Alpha Legion exactly as is was probably not the right move.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because at that time you'd also picked up all your new tanks. So
yes.
I got them quickly built up so that we could replace the flyers with tanks.
My armoured company.
So
yes.
you now have a bit more of an a ground force rather than an air force.
Yeah.
Which you've, which is a bit easier for you to handle. The only thing that you have got that's on the more complicated side now is the deep striking Terminators.
Yes, which I tried in the last game that we played.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely need to reevaluate the way that I do that, because I definitely didn't do it right at all. So I just need to make sure that next time that I think about it a little bit more carefully.
Yeah, but in fairness, it was only a 4-base Terminator unit. It wasn't a big decision really.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a big points investment not used correctly, like the Flyers were, which were a vast number of points.
My entire army, nearly,
Yeah.
and I wasn't using them properly at all.
Whereas at least if you don't use those Terminators the right way for the first few games, it's not going to necessarily cause you to lose.
No, it's not.
You did lose that game, but for a completely different reason. Nothing to do with the Terminators.
Nope, it was because I deployed half my army on the other side of the board.
To clarify, the wrong side of
the
the
board.
board.
The wrong side of the board, yes.
Not necessarily the other side is the problem, it was just
the
wrong side. Yeah.
And it was my tanks of all things that I did that with, so I wasn't very best pleased with myself about that.
Yeah, sadly you kind of left me to basically dictate the flow of the battlefield, because all of my knights were on the right side of the table, your tanks were on the wrong side of the table, so yeah, it just kind of let my knights go wild without any risk of being hit back really, until it was far too late. And by far too late, I managed to sneak a bunch of armigers up behind your tanks, and they just decimated them in combat.
What to do, you know?
But you got to learn these things.
And we're playing another game on Saturday, so
We are indeed.
I will endeavour to put out a couple more stops and...
Put your tanks in the right place?
Yes, put my tanks in the right bloody place. God.
Oh dear. I'm sure you'll be fine. I mean, this time I'm the defender this time.
Yes, you are.
So I should be defending the city.
I shall be attacking it.
Yeah.
With the might of the Associate Alpha Legion at the moment.
Well, you will have some Night Lords.
I will have some Night Lords.
You'll be able to swap out quite a lot of the infantry for some Night Lords.
Booyah.
So you've got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
We'll see how many of them before Saturday. There's a good chance that the ones I'm currently painting now won't get finished for Saturday, just due to other things I need to do between now and Saturday. So they won't probably get based or anything by Saturday, but you'll have all of the infantry I did last week.
Yeah.
Or last weekend.
Yes, it was last weekend.
So you'll have all those to use. So you'll actually have some of your own painted models on the table, which should be quite exciting. So I don't think you've ever had any of your own painted models ever.
No. I test painted my She-Wolf sisters.
You did.
They're around somewhere. But never actually painted any models. So yeah, this will be the first time that I'll have anything painted from an army, which would be nice. So yeah. Do you want to do our main event?
The main event.
Our main event.
You want to go? You want to go to the main event?
Do you want to do the main event?
Oh, I suppose we could do the main event.
I feel like you're at a good point with those missiles now, where it's not going to distract you too much from what you're doing. That's all. If you want to wait a bit longer, I'm happy to ramble a little bit more. But
No, it's fine. We can do it.
Okay.
It just means that I'm going to set myself the goal of finishing these by the end of the stream. And if I can finish these at the end of the stream,
You'll be happy.
I'll be happy. Cause
Okay.
I've done 4 bases of Space Marines
Okay.
in an evening, and I think that's not bad.
No, I don't think it's bad at all, and obviously I am very grateful that you're doing it in the first place, so.
And it just means that I've got another, by this rate, probably 3 evenings worth of painting.
Yeah, that's 3 streams.
No, it's 3 streams. Oh, to be fair, I'm going to try and get that done before the
No,
next
I
stream.
know, yeah. I know you will.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping I'll have all your Night Lords done by Monday. I'm going to try and get them all done over the weekend.
So you should keep an eye out for our Mead Hall Instagram
And TikTok.
And our TikTok,
And
yes,
Facebook.
and TikTok and Facebook,
And there will be a release on YouTube.
there will be a release on YouTube.
Although it won't be related to Night Lords, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually it will be, because it'll be one
But
of
you
the
will
streams.
get to see the models all finished up and on social, so keep an eye out.
Indeed. Right, you want to go to the main event then? So, let us flop over to this screen here.
Aww. God damn.
We have a tier list.
We do.
So,
last time we did a tier list based on Primarchs' special powers.
we did.
Whereas I suggested today that we tier list the Primarchs based on them as people. So what they are, who they actually are, what they're like.
Okay, but we do need to clarify.
Yeah, we can clarify.
So, are we rating them based on whether we think they're good people?
I mean, I don't think...
Or whether they are... I mean, what's the criteria? What are we assessing them on?
Personality.
Be more specific.
So...
Oh, is it just the ones that we think we enjoy the most?
No.
In terms of their personality,
No.
or what?
No. So I think we should base them on personality, how they treat their Legion, because that coincides with personality, I think. And how their life experiences have moulded them as a person. Is that more specific for you?
I'm still not sure how I'm tier listing. What makes it good and bad? You can't tier list something unless there's a good and a bad, can you? So if we're saying their personality, what about the personality means they're an S tier? What about their personality means they're a D tier?
How they treat their Legion.
So are we tier listing them based on how they treat their Legion?
No, it's it coincides with who they are as people.
Yeah, but how do I define that? What makes them a good or a bad? How does that work?
I don't know. It just kind of does, doesn't it?
No. How am I supposed to assess them? What about their personality makes them an S tier? Because otherwise you're basically just saying which is my favourite.
Well, no, we're not doing favourites.
Exactly, because if I'm just saying their personality, well, I'm just going to put all my favourites on the top because they're the ones I enjoy.
Trying to think now.
Very quiet now.
Yeah, I'm really stuck now. I thought I had it with what I said. Maybe we could just do how they are with their Legion, like the relationship with their Legion, or their relationship with the Emperor, or maybe we could just do like the backstory. Anything like that, I would say. It's up to you, to be honest.
Okay. I mean, right. So, let's go with the idea that we're going to do their backstory, right? Okay. Are we rating them based on whether their backstory is interesting or narratively
tragic?
Well, I mean, not necessarily tragic, but are we? Is this which Primarch has the best backstory, or which Primarch has the most unique backstory, or what? You can't just tier list things with something generic like backstory.
I mean,
'Cause you have
I
to-
don't see why not, but
Well, because what am I comparing it to? A tier list, by definition, is a comparison. So what am I comparing? What am I looking for? Because what this is, essentially, is a grading system, isn't it? So
Yeah.
how am I grading their backstories? What's the criteria? Because again, otherwise I'm just saying which is my favourite backstory.
I think we should go with the backstory that is the most I had the word and now the word is gone. Not emotional, but like it's not tragic either. It's like it narratively it grips you, like it's like if I had to pick one like out of the air, like Angron, his backstory is probably one of the ones that makes you go, wow, like that's like some heavy stuff. So like for me that would be pretty high up. So I'm like, we're talking like completely like lore wise here. Is that good enough now?
So
Have we found it?
So essentially, we're grading them on whether we like their backstories.
Yeah, whether we've found it like narratively, like, you know, gripping and like,
okay,
and maybe a little bit relatable as well, and like.
So we adding relatability to the criteria.
We can add. I think we should. I think we can add relatability to the criteria. Yes.
Right. So I think if this is the way we're going to go, we need at least three definable characteristics that we are rating these on.
Okay.
So criteria number 1, relatability.
Yeah.
Okay. Criteria 2, emotional impact.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that.
So whether that's, they make you feel, whether their backstory makes you feel for them,
Yeah.
or something like that. Third, how about just rule of cool?
Rule of cool.
Yeah. Is it a cool background?
Oh yeah.
Is it cinematic?
Cinematic definitely
Because
should
that
be.
was a criteria.
That was a
criteria.
criteria. That was a criteria that we did when we did with powers.
Could we see that backstory making a good opening to a movie?
Oh.
Cinematic.
Cinematics. Yes, I think we should go with
Right,
that. Right,
there
we
we go.
found it.
Do you understand now what I'm saying about having a grading criteria?
Yeah, you don't need to mansplain it to me, Jamie.
Oh, don't be mansplaining. I'm asking you a simple question. Do you understand? That's not mansplaining, that's asking a question.
Yes, I understand. We've got it. Right, let's go.
I am now mansplaining to you because I need to make you understand the idea of what a question is. But there we go. Oh, such a lovely relationship we have on this channel.
I love you.
Right, so now that we've got that out of the way,
I've got to try and figure out who these models are now.
oh god, we're gonna. This is a bonus round now. Can El identify Primarchs based on their models?
I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. The reason why I can't wear my glasses when we're streaming is because the light from the monitor that I'm looking at reflects on them, but I am gonna have to wear them in order to. Okay, so I'm going from the first one towards the right. Is that my right?
If I'm going to hover over it, you're going to go that way, across, and then the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so left to right, starting at the top.
So can I guess them all first?
You can guess them all first.
Okay. So,
Well,
I think that first one is Alfarius.
correct.
Second one.
By the way, if you get these all right, I will let you veto for free one of the decisions that we make during
Oh
the
no,
tier
come on,
listing.
I'm not gonna get them all right now. I know I'm not. Okay.
There's no punishment for getting it wrong. But if you get them all right, you get a bonus. You get to decide against me on one of our tier listings.
I'm trying to figure out who that second one is.
Also, there is a little timer on this, so because we don't want this stream to go on forever.
Is that second one the Great Khan?
It is not.
Oh. Is it Rogel Dawn?
Nope.
Oh my god. Well, there goes my chance at vetoing.
Yep.
I'll come back to that one.
Okay.
So the third one, that's Corvus Corax.
Yes,
Fourth one is Comrade Kurz.
it is.
Fifth one, I'm now realising might be Rogel Dawn.
It is.
Yeah. Number 6. That looks like Lorgar.
It is not.
Oh, I thought it was because of the little banner at the back. I thought that might have been
It's
Lorgar.
not a banner.
Is it not? That's not a very clear image. Is that
No, it's quite small on your screen.
Yeah. Is that Perturabo?
Nope. Close though.
Ferrus Manus.
It is indeed Ferrus
Ferrus Manus. Okay. Number 7. Gods.
Oh, that's easy. That one.
Is it?
Yeah. Look at the colour of the armour.
I can't see it very properly. That's why.
It's purple.
Oh, it's Fulgrim then.
Yeah. I'll give you that one. That one's going to be very hard to see, I think.
Number 8, yeah.
Give you a second.
Oh, hang on. Is that... Oh, no, that's not Magnus, because Magnus is down there.
So who is it?
It's blue, but
It is blue.
The only other blue is... Gilliman, but that doesn't look like it's Gilliman.
Does it not?
Oh, no, I think it is.
That's because it is.
Okay, yeah, Gilliman. Then you've got Horus.
That is indeed the War Master.
Then that's the Great Khan.
This is the Great Khan.
Then you've got... Who is that?
You should know that one.
Is it a lion?
It is indeed.
Then that's Lorgar.
Yes, it is.
Then Magnus.
Yep.
Then you... Is that Mortarion?
Yes, it is.
Then that's Perturabo.
Yes.
Then the next one... Who is that? Oh, Lehman Russ.
It is indeed.
Sanguinius.
Yeah. There's only 2 left.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who they are now.
Oh no. Thought you told me you knew who they all were.
Oh my god. Who am I missing?
I mean, I've got a clue in my head, but the clue is such a giveaway.
Oh. Who haven't we had? I'm really embarrassed that that's really stumped me. Do you know that?
You're gonna kick yourself.
Alpha Legion, Raven Guard, Night Lords, Imperial Fists, Iron Hands, Empress Children, Ultramarines, Sons of Horus, White Scars, Dark Angels, Word Bearers, Thousand Sons, Death Guard, Iron Warriors, Space Wolves, Blood Angels. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's happened to my brain. It's like those 2...
Do you want me to give you the biggest clue you could ever get?
Oh, you're gonna have to, yeah.
Okay. You have forgotten the friendliest legion.
Oh, no. That is Vulcan.
Yeah. And you've also forgotten the angriest legion.
No. Oh my god, I was just talking about my angry boy.
That clue popped into my head so quickly. Like, you've forgotten the friendliest and the angriest of the Primarchs. How could you not remember those 2?
I am going to go down in Mead gaming history again of completely embarrassing myself when it comes to not remembering lore. Oh my goodness. Right, okay. Should we actually do the tier listing now?
I mean, I've been ready since the beginning. I was just watching you
my
talk
goodness.
to yourself.
Okay, so first one is Alfarius, who's your favourite.
He is my favourite.
Found by the Emperor on Terra, raised in secret,
Yep.
becomes a spy, basically.
A spy, an assassin, an informant.
Yeah.
Raises his legion in secret.
Yeah.
He was present at almost every Primarch founding. Secretly disguised as one of those Primarch's own legion. There's a cool story of when the Emperor first discovers Leman Russ, Alfarius is in the room, dressed as a space wolf.
Wow.
He battles on Terra before anyone else knows he exists. Constantine Valdor. While Constantine Valdor is armoured in full Custodes armour with his weapon, while Alfarius has nothing but a stolen spear and no armour.
Yeah.
And actually survives the fight and doesn't get killed. Whether that means he would win or not, who knows? But the fact that he stood his ground against Valdor is quite an impressive feat.
Very impressive. Did he also take part in the Blood Bowl?
You mean the Blood Games?
The Blood Games, yeah.
The Blood Games were invented because of that event that I told you about with Constantine Valdor.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because
it was
basically the Alfarius attempted. Well, I say attempted. He was pretending or trying to prove that the Emperor's protection on Terra wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So he decided to attempt to assassinate the Emperor. And the Custodes, and specifically Valdor, basically had to try and, well, they didn't know obviously at the time, but had to obviously try and stop him. And not only did Alfarius get so close to the Emperor that he was able to line up a shot on him before Constantine took him down, supposedly. Constantine Valdor thought that he had beaten Alfarius, and Alfarius then said, "You haven't won," and then showed him that he already had in position. It was either controls or bombs, basically, that would have killed the Emperor. So even though Valdor found him, Alfarius had already won.
Yeah, that's...
So Constantine Valdor was obviously not very happy and decided to invent the blood games so that
they would get better with the defences.
they would have to constantly train to protect the Emperor. So essentially, Alfarius accidentally invented the Custodes blood games.
There you go.
The inspiration for the blood games was Alfarius.
So, at the moment, his backstory is screaming AT around me.
Alright, well, I know I'm biased. But
I hear a very big but there.
there's a big but here. I am biased, but I want to put him in S tier because, not just because he's probably one of, if not my favourite Primarchs, but his backstory is written in a book called Head of the Hydra. And it is probably one of the best 40k novels you will ever read. It is so well written. And the stories in it are phenomenal. His backstory is one of my most entertaining. But let's break down the criteria, shall we? And let's do this right. So cinematically, 10 out of 10. It would be epic. It basically is a James Bond movie combined with a super high action sci-fi movie all in one.
Yeah, okay. I get that.
I can't. He's getting full points for cinematics.
Okay. Relatability?
That's probably where we're gonna have to mark it down, because I don't know how many of us can relate to being a super spy.
No, can't relate to that.
Or being trained from birth as an assassin.
Yeah.
So probably not very relatable. He's also probably he's probably not the most relatable personality either. For most people, I would have thought. So I think we'll probably mark him down for that.
Yeah.
What was the third criteria?
Rule of cool. I think being a super spy is pretty cool.
I thought Rule of Cool was what we changed to cinematic.
No.
I thought the other one was emotional impact.
Oh, no, of course it's emotional impact.
It's emotional impact, relatability, and cinematics.
Yeah. Emotionally...
It's not a very emotional story.
No, it's not. Compared to some of his brothers, absolutely not. But I suppose there is that little bit of, like, you know, he didn't know a life other than being his father's tool, basically. That was his life, you know. He spent his existence making decisions based on what his father presented to him.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, that's most of the Primarchs, but yes. There is an element to it of, you know, he unlike the rest of the Primarchs, he never got to have a life outside the Emperor.
And can we also talk about the fact that he split into two?
No, yeah.
Like,
he's a split soul.
He's a split... Well, yeah, it's basically like he got split into two, and that must be, like,
mentally
insane.
Very insanity driving.
Like,
I think we can probably give him at least
I think we can
half points
probably...
for that.
Yeah, I think we could probably give him back a couple of points that he loses with relatability with that.
Yeah, so I think you're probably right. It's probably A. I want it to be S, but it probably is A. Because I can't justify saying it's relatable. Really.
No, you can't, unfortunately. So pop him in the A tier.
A tier. A for Alfarius, I'll take it.
Yes. Angron.
Angry Ron.
Angron.
Now, how much of his backstory do you know?
So I can't remember what the planet's called.
Nuceria.
Luceria.
Yeah.
Right. So he's dropped on Nuceria, and he... I can't remember when he had the butcher's nails become a part of him, but I know that he was like a gladiator. It was very much kind of like a Spartan sort of vibe that the planet...
Not Spartan, no.
Spartan were gladiators, weren't they not?
No. Spartans were a Greek kingdom. You're thinking of Spartacus.
Spartacus. Yes.
Which is Roman history.
Yeah, it's...
Yes.
yeah, it's like that Spartacus kind of vibe.
Basically, Angron is the Spartacus of 40k.
Oh, 40k, yeah.
He was, a little bit more extreme. Well, I say a little bit, massively more extreme. Because he basically was taken pretty much immediately as a slave.
Yeah.
And thrown into the fighting pits.
Yeah.
And made to fight and kill people that he knew.
And loved.
Yeah, maybe not. Certainly people he knew and respected at the time.
Yeah.
And at this point in time as well, Angron wasn't the manic rage monster either.
No.
He had some kind of ability to absorb the pain of others.
So like an empath.
Yeah, but magical empath.
Yeah.
So he was actually a very almost. He was a leader. He was a beacon of hope.
Yeah.
To the slaves. Now the slave masters didn't like that, obviously.
No.
And that's when they decided to implement what's now known as the butcher's nails.
Yeah.
Which are basically a bunch of nail, not really nail-like, but they're some kind of device that goes into his skull.
Yeah.
Basically, causing violence stops the nails boring into his brain.
Yeah.
So he's basically psycho-conditioned
to be angry.
to be violent, because violence takes the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like if you ever had a vice on your hand or your head or something, and it was being turned constantly, putting pressure onto your skull, you can almost feel it cracking, and the only way that you could get someone to stop was to basically
kill someone,
and then they'd relieve it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they'd slowly start turning it again until you kill someone else, and constantly that.
It's very sad.
And then he led a rebellion.
He did.
Basically, he replays Spartacus, but on a planetary scale. And his slave army becomes known as the Eaters of Cities, which is why he renames his legion the World Eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cinematically, wow. If you're old enough to watch it, the series Spartacus by Stars, imagine that, but 40k. Planetary scale with all the gore and viscera of the 40k universe.
Yeah.
Cinematically, amazing.
Life changing.
That's his backstory.
Could be a movie.
Is the movie? It's not the opening credits to a movie. It is the movie. Quite a lot of these are just the openings. His backstory is a movie. So I think cinematically, he is straight up there, 11 out of 10. Empathy-wise, emotionally, also 10 out of 10.
I think the first time I ever heard, the whole thing, I think I cried a little bit. But I could never imagine what it must feel like to fight side by side with your friends, and then later on down the line you're put in the ring with them and told you have to kill them now. Yeah. And then for them to take away the thing that made him who he is, which is to, be empathetic with people and want to help people. And replace it with this untold anger that's just heart-wrenching.
Now, I think where he falls down is relatability. Because I don't... Depending on how we're defining relatability, you might relate to, like, the pre-Rage Monster Angron, but for the majority of the story, he's a Rage Monster.
He is a Rage Monster.
And that's not something most of us, I think, are going to relate to or want to relate to.
I can definitely relate to...
To a certain degree, we can all relate to anger and getting angry, but we're talking about someone who takes that to the nth level.
And then obviously you've also got the fact that the Emperor, he was going to die alongside the people that he cared about, and then the Emperor beams him up to his own ship.
And imagine I'd hope there's very few people that would relate to that, and I'm hoping no one would want to.
Yeah.
So I think he's losing points there, so I'm going to say A for Angron.
I want to disagree and put him in S tier.
Can't be an S tier because he's not a 10 out of 10 on all three. Otherwise, I'm putting Alfaro as an S tier.
Okay. He can go in A tier.
I will happily put Angron and Alfaro as an S tier, but if S tier is for the 10 out of 10s, then no, he can't go in there.
Okay.
But I will absolutely put him in A.
Alright.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't think I know Horus Corax's
So
backstory.
Horus Corax, very similar to Angron in a lot of ways. Born on a moon called Kievar, which is basically a slave colony to a planet.
Right.
And he basically leads a rebellion.
Right.
Much like Angron. Because he was raised by the slaves and basically taught that, this is bad.
Oh! I just remembered something I do know about his backstory. He was thought to be a messiah.
Not as far as I remember. But
And I'm pretty sure he was hidden away quite a lot.
yeah, there were definitely parts of his storyline where he was, because he the slave.
He was different, and they thought he was some sort of like god or something, so
Possibly,
they wanted to keep him safe. I'm
I
pretty sure.
don't remember that part of it, but essentially, yes, he's raised by a bunch of slaves, brought up to obviously hate the oppressors,
Yeah.
favour the slaves. So he leads a rebellion to free the slaves on Kievar, and basically he gets into a position just as the Emperor arrives, where he basically has a choice of basically massacring a huge population of people, which will kill all of the masters, but also result in tens of thousands of casualties. Not all of them evil or bad guys. And the Emperor appears just before this, and the Emperor basically says to him, "I'm not going to intervene. You can choose whether you want to set those bombs off." And he does. He makes the choice.
Oh God.
So again, it's another example of where the Emperor could have intervened, but he chose not to.
He chose to be a. Yeah.
And Corax made the choice and actually did blow everything up. Now again, I think Corax's story there is quite cinematic.
Yeah, I mean, there's that whole moment of, he's got his hand on the button and
I think
heart thumping in his chest that he doesn't know what he's going to do.
his one's interesting because I think you could make his backstory a movie, but I also think you could also
Probably quite a slow burn.
it would probably be a quite slow burn potentially. It depends how it's done, but
Yeah.
it could be a movie.
If it was a Zack Snyder movie,
But
would
it
be
could,
great.
but it could also just be a 10-minute reel.
Yeah.
His one's quite good because, like Angron's one, I think has to be a movie because you can't tell a story that good in such a small space of time.
No.
Corax's one you could, but equally it's good enough you could make a whole story out of it. Cinematically as well, I think it would be quite cool. Do I think it would be as cool as like a super spy or a super Saiyan murder bot? probably not.
Mm.
I'd probably give him sort of like 8 out of 10 for cinematic.
Yeah, I'd probably be on the same wavelength as you.
Okay. What about empathy?
I mean, obviously
emotional impact.
it's not great that he was a slave. But other than the fact that he had to lead a rebellion to free them from it, there's not really anything there that I feel like.
What about that? What about that final moment?
That final moment where he had
to make that decision that he didn't have to make.
Yeah, that is heart-wrenching, and nobody should have to feel like they have to make a decision like that.
Imagine not only having to make that decision, but knowing you shouldn't have to make it because the Emperor chose not to intervene.
Yeah.
He wanted to test him, so he had to be tested to make the decision to press a button to kill thousands of people. That's quite an emotional story, I think. Like the ending. The rest of it is, but not in the same way as say Angron's is. Whereas I think that final moment does bring it up a bit.
Yeah.
So again, I'd still give that a solid 7.
Yeah.
7 out of 10.
What about relatability?
I can't get over the fact he's just an emo Primarch.
He is an emo Primarch. He's a little goth baby. No, he's the emo boy, and then you've got Conrad, who is the goth baby.
I don't feel like he's a massively relatable Primarch.
No, not really.
And I don't know that his backstory is all that relatable either.
I mean, that moment of having an impossible decision to make, but you don't have to make it anyway, but you do at the same time. I feel like that's pretty like, oof. But it's not as relatable as like Angron with.
I mean, we took points off both Alvarez and Angron for relatability, and I think we're doing the same here with Korax.
I think that he should probably go in B tier.
Yeah, I'm probably feeling
I don't want to put him lower than that because I still do think that last moment does definitely redeem him, but I do think he's a B tier, so I think we should put him in B tier.
Let's go with B then.
And then you know who it is next.
Conrad Kurz.
The Night Haunter.
Connor, he's your favourite. Come on, you have to know his story.
I do know his story. So his pod hit the planet of Nostromo, which is basically like a world encased in darkness, no sunlight. His pod crashes through the centre of the crust, and baby Conrad comes out of his pod, and he's crawling, and he's crawling, and he's crawling, and the first human that he meets tries to eat him. So obviously, he attacks and kills said person, thing, whatever they were. And that was his very first encounter with humanity, which I think is a lot of the reason why he was the way that he was with humans. He then grew up on his own in the shadows of Nostromo, got himself the name of the Night Haunter because he would basically take criminals off the streets, rip them a new one, and then leave their bits and pieces out everywhere as a warning not to be a criminal, basically, which then caused...
That was after he took power on the planet, though, wasn't it?
No,
Pretty sure
before.
Didn't think he got the title of Night Haunter after he took power.
I'm pretty sure it was his... I'm pretty sure that was what he was known as before, but I might be wrong. I quite remember how he took power, but I do remember.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. He walked into the most powerful person's palace, basically, and flayed them alive and took over.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It is pretty much that simple.
But no, I'm pretty sure he was given the name of the Night Haunted before he took power, because before he took power, the crime rate on Nostromo, which was like Gotham City times 12, went down considerably because he was dealing with the criminals. I'm pretty sure that was how that worked.
Again, I'm 90% sure the whole...
Maybe that was after.
That was after.
Yeah, it was after. So obviously there's a lot to unpack there. Cinematically, I mean, that moment where his pod hits the crust and there's this, like, growing fucking fetus, basically.
One thing I'm going to say, right, I'm not going to give points for that because they all came down on their planets the exact same way. They all did the meteor crash thing. So none of them are getting points for that because they all did that.
The moment when he encounters his first human and he gets attacked and he defends himself.
Yeah, I mean...
I think is very cinematic.
Yeah.
The snatching the criminals from the shadows and flaying them alive and doing all of that, I think that's quite cinematic as well.
Let's be fair, I mean, we're just picturing really dark Batman here, aren't we? We're talking...
Yes.
We're talking R-rated Batman.
We're talking the Batman who, if you're a DC fan, we're talking like the Batman who laughs.
Yeah, similar kind of idea.
Like that kind of unhinged, psychotic with like still like a very twisted moral like ideal on how the world should be. And I mean that is what Conrad is good at. He is good at being scary. He's good at getting his point across and getting what he wants.
Yeah, we're not talking about the actual person.
No, I know. But yeah, I do think that he does have a very cinematic backstory.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some cinematics there. Trying to decide whether it's a movie in and of itself or whether it needs to be a flashback, because I feel like a movie is basically just a torture porn movie. Which I suppose, you know, we have things like Saw and stuff that exist, so
yeah.
I suppose it is a movie, but is it... I feel like I need to dock points off because
I don't think like
that it's not the kind of movie that everyone would be happy with.
I feel like it's the subtext of a movie. It's a flashback because I feel like he is very much the villain in a story.
Yeah, but the point is, could it be a movie, or should it just be the opening?
I think it's got to encompass something else. I don't think it can be like a standalone thing on its own. I don't think it's quite interesting enough.
I think it could be. I don't necessarily think it should be.
No.
So yeah, I think we got to dock a few points off cinematic just for that. But not too many. We'll probably still give an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
In terms of emotional impact, I mean, I don't feel any stirring of emotion when I read that story. Like none.
I feel sad that was what his first experience with humanity was, because I think that if it had been a little bit different, then he could have been a very different person. I think that he was a bit conned with that, and I think that the whole, you know, like being in isolation and, you know, living as like a monster or an animal, that's quite
Do you know Alpharis's first experience with humans with a group of people trying to kill him?
God, yeah. So yeah, so I think for relatability, it'd probably like.
Well, no, emotion. We're doing emotion right now.
Oh yeah, emotional.
So emotionally, does it have a big emotional draw? I would say no.
I'd say it's probably like a 6. It's not like too much.
I'd go down to at least a 4. Like
We'll meet in the
it's
middle
not
and go
it's not a very emotional story.
Okay.
Like yes, there's a tiny bit of it, but that's such a small part of it. Like his overall story, his story isn't told like a tragedy.
No, I suppose not.
It's a horror story.
It's a horror story, yeah.
So it's not massively emotional.
Yeah.
In terms of relatability as well, it's not. I don't think he's scoring high here either.
No, I can't say I.
Because he's almost more of an animal.
He's an
than
animal,
than
yeah.
a person, and that's not very relatable.
No.
So I'm sorry, darling, but I think he's going down to C.
I do think he's going down to C.
He's definitely on D because cinematics definitely bring him up.
Oh yeah.
But I think because he's going to score quite low in the other 2 categories.
Yes.
Poor boy Conrad. Hey, but it is C for Conrad.
He's spelled with a K, first of all.
Oh yeah, isn't it? I'm thinking of the actual like Conrad that we normally see.
Rogel Dawn.
Rogel Dawn.
I have absolutely no idea what his backstory is.
I've got to be honest with you, I don't remember a lot about it because I don't think it's that interesting. I'm pretty sure it's something along the lines of he gets born into a powerful family, he becomes the leader of a small empire, and that's it.
So basically along the same lines as Gilliman then.
Very
Although I think Gilliman's is probably a little bit higher.
I don't remember a lot about Rogel Dawn's story.
I honestly
I think there's a reason for that. Like, yeah, he basically has a relatively easy start. To the best of my memory, I mean, I might be misremembering this, but it's not very memorable. So I would say cinematically, it's going to be like a 2. Maybe even a 1. In terms of emotional, 0.
Yeah.
Relatability, well, it is quite a relatable story in the sense that, you know, it's an achievable thing. Someone who is born into a position and power will just become more powerful. And he's a relatively relatable character as well. I mean, he's not an overly caricatured person. So I think he's still going to score reasonably high in terms of relatability. But I think he tanks it on the other 2.
He's going in D tier, I think. Yeah. I think we can just pop him in there, to be honest.
His backstory's just not that great. Ferris?
The only thing I remember about his backstory is that he was... For some reason, my brain is telling me that he was attacked by like a mechanical bear, and his hands...
Not a bear.
His hands got caught in, like, iron, like melting metal.
You're not far off. So, like most of the Primarchs, his backstory is very similar to most of them. But the key part of his backstory is that during his early years, he ended up fighting hand to hand a mechanical beast, which is heavily hinted to have been a Necron construct.
Oh, wow.
And Necron constructs are made out of something called living metal.
Like that, and then the metal.
So, and he basically, in order to fight it, he actually wrestled it and drowned it, so he held it under...
In its own blood?
No, lava.
Lava.
Because, you know, it's a mechanical construct down here, it doesn't have blood.
Yeah.
So yes, he held this thing under some lava, and for some reason this living metal then bonded to his arms, and that's how he became the Iron Hand.
The Iron Hands.
You know, Ferrus Manus, Iron Hand.
Iron Hands. Kochuga. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only really notable thing. Most of it is pretty bog standard. He goes around, conquers the tribes, and unites the planet.
Yeah, that moment of fighting the beast and
cinematic as hell.
So cinematic, right?
Definitely only an opening though. It's not a whole story.
No.
I mean, you probably could, but it's not.
No. So relatability. I can't really say I relate to him very much.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very gruff character. He's
quite stoic and
very stoic, but I would say he's more relatable than most of them. Like, he's almost a no nonsense, let's get this done kind of guy. And his backstory is very similar. It's very much like, here's the task. I mean, it's quite a relatable story in the idea that, you know, he's got a big conflict that he's got to deal with, or a big, you know,
he's good at
thing in his life that he's got to conquer, and he does it, and he battles, and he wins, and through perseverance, and so I think it's relatively relatable. I definitely scoring high on cinematics, but he's losing points because it's only an intro, not a full movie. Relatability wise, I think it's kind of quite a relatable kind of story. It's not overly ridiculous. I mean, yes, alright, wrestling a big space robot, not quite so much, but relative to the Primarchs, relatable.
Yeah.
Emotionally, though, I don't think it has much charge. I think he's losing points there.
But I think that moment with the beast definitely isn't putting him in D tier. I think it's probably a C.
I'm gonna say B.
Yeah?
Because I think he scores high cinematics, high relatability, and I still think, and it's only really the emotional side that's bringing him down.
Yeah.
The only reason he's not in A is because he's not scoring like top tier of the first two.
Yeah. Okay, let's put him in B then.
Yeah.
I just realised we put Corvus Corax in B tier. B for birdie.
Okay.
Fulgrim.
Oh, we've got Rogor Dawn in D. D for Dawn.
Hey, there we go.
I don't know how we can mix B with Ferrus though.
Beast.
Yeah, alright, yeah, okay.
Fulgrim.
Fulgrim, the Phoenician.
I'm pretty sure whatever planet that he was on, he introduced them to like the arts and stuff, didn't he?
Pretty much, yeah. So he basically, I think if I remember right, his world was quite savage when he started on it. But he eventually conquered it and basically taught them, or decided
he became their king, didn't he?
Something like that. I don't know what the exact title was, but he essentially takes over the planet and basically says, right, let's stop blowing shit up, and let's focus on building things and making things pretty and doing music and arts and stuff like that.
Did you know that he also had a lot of wives? He just outlived them all.
Ah, yes, I do remember that. Yes, yeah. So in terms of cinematics, I'm saying low.
Yeah, he's got.
It's not going to be a very cinematic backstory, and his backstory is definitely the 2-minute opening credit.
Yeah,
done.
And it's definitely one of the nicer ones.
He's one of the nicer ones, which also makes it less interesting to watch.
Yeah.
In terms of 40k and Primarchs. So he's scoring low in cinematics.
Relatability, obviously.
Annoyingly high.
I love creating stuff. You love creating stuff. So I feel like we can both relate to him on that front.
And this part of Fulgrim, like the beginning, so I think a lot of people would want to relate to as well.
Yeah.
So I think he's scoring quite high relatability. Emotion though is dead.
Yeah.
There's no emotional pizzazz to that background.
Yeah.
So I sadly I think he's going down to D.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go.
He is pretty. His backstory's just not that gripping.
No.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling it. Gilly Man.
Robbie.
Robbie.
Gilliman.
He's D. I don't. His backstory is basically.
Yeah, but didn't he watch his parents get killed in front of him? His adopted parents.
I mean, they were assassinated, I think, and he took over. Okay, fine.
Emotionally wise.
Fine. Okay, let's break this down then. Cinematically, it's not that great. He inherits an empire. That's kind of it. Like, the only major event is the one you say where, you know, I think his father gets killed and he has to take over. I mean, again, that's the opening 2 minutes to a movie. That is not a movie.
And then also, you know,
I suppose you probably could make a movie out of it. It probably would be quite good. But it's...
And then also, you know, the whole grief of finding out that the two people that he thought were his parents weren't his parents at all.
Yeah. I just emotionally, I'm just not into it.
Okay.
I don't feel the emotion when I read his backstory.
Okay.
And I don't feel like it's that I don't feel like it's that cinematic either.
Okay.
Relatability, I mean, sure. He's probably the most relatable Primarch. But he's still...
He's probably one of the more human.
Yeah.
Than everybody else.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe the lion.
Oh, no, Lion's not very human at all.
Wow. So, where do you want to put?
D. I said it straight away. I didn't want to discuss it.
Can we put him at the front of D, though?
Yeah, I don't care as long as he's D. I just don't.
Yeah,
I'm just not that interested in his background, which I know my mate Gaz is going to hate me for. If he ever watches this episode, he's going to hate me for that. Horace S tier.
Lupercal, yeah.
Wow, is he S tier? I want to say he's S tier.
So,
actually,
he was raised by a gang.
Yep.
Before he was found by the Emperor, then was coached by the Emperor for...
Well, no, he started as a gang, part of a gang, but he actually rose and become a conqueror and took over the planet.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact, most of the Primarchs conquered their planet, so there's only a couple that didn't.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Angron and Alpharis were the only ones that didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Alpharis wasn't given a planet to conquer.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas an Angron was the only one who actually failed.
And was taken away from it, yeah.
So yes, so no. Horace went from gang leader to conqueror. Which, just saying that immediately makes me think that's potentially a movie there. That's like that could be a movie. Like a rags to riches kind of story, but in a really dark 40k version.
Yeah.
Also, Horace is known as being the most charismatic Primarch. So you can imagine him being this amazing orator, leading people to become better and take the planet over. You know, cinematically I could see it.
Yeah.
Emotionally, it doesn't have a lot to it.
Are we talking pre-Emperor for Horace?
We're talking about his literal backstory, so yes, pre-Emperor.
Then no, there's not much to it. No. Because if we were talking...
Yeah, no, we're not talking about we're not talking about anything to do with the heresy. This is just their origin story. So basically, from the time before they met the Emperor.
Yeah,
or
so...
the events immediately after, but nothing after. So yeah, emotionally there's not a whole lot there to like grip you. Cinematically, though, I think it would be quite cool. And I think you could make a whole movie on Horus.
And there was also that, like, relatability as well, I think.
I think he is
of
one of
wanting to be better,
yeah,
wanting
at
more.
At that time, Horus is one of the most relatable.
Yeah.
Which again, I think because I would say he's scoring very high in 2.
Yeah.
Pretty low in 1 though.
Which is why I don't think we can put him in S.
No, he can't be an S.
No.
He's definitely an A or a B. I'm leaning A.
Yeah. A low A.
We'll go low A. In fact, actually, if we're doing this in order, I think Aragorn goes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
actually think Warhammer is there.
Yeah. The Great Khan.
Now, the Great Khan, do you know his story?
So he found himself on a planet that was very much sort of like Mongol, kind of very rich with culture. That's about it. Pretty sure he just conquered the planet, didn't he?
I think the Khan could be our S tier.
Okay, come on then.
So the Khan, raised by tribal people, was raised as the son of a Khan. Okay, so Khan is a title.
I know what a Khan is. Yeah.
It's obviously a Mongolian title, and so he was the son of a Khan of a tribe, or adopted son, obviously. And one day, a rival clan, a rival Khanate, comes in and butchers the Khan's entire family in front of him.
Oh my God.
And the Khan escapes with a handful of his people and swears revenge. And you get this whole revenge arc of the Khan going round all the tribes, gathering a massive horde, and then going and fighting his father's killer, taking him out, and then decides that, do you know what? I've got the biggest army on this planet. Let's go and take the rest of it. Honestly, like, you've got the cinematics of, like, this epic Mongol horde storyline of going around gathering up allies and then doing these massive battles. You've got the tragedy of the death of the family in front of him, like the whole it like emotionally I can feel the power and the sorrow and the vengeance. I can feel the relatability of, if that was me, I could see myself wanting to do that. You know, you want, if someone wrongs you, you're gonna try and make it right.
Yeah.
Highly relatable, highly emotional, epic cinematics. That is an entire movie. Hell, you could make a HBO series out of his backstory.
Yeah.
Like, he, for me, has got to be S tier.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, he is probably my third favourite Primarch, but in this
he's
tier,
great.
in this tier list, he's definitely, like, number one.
I also love the fact how, obviously not related, but I also love the fact how he's just, like, hopping around hunting Eldar at the moment as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Khan story is underrated.
Is that the lion?
That is the lion. Do you know much about his backstory?
So he was, I'm pretty sure, the planet that he was dropped on was called Caliban.
It was indeed.
He then was found.
Oh, you're skipping ahead.
What?
Well, he spent about the first 10 years or so of his life living in the wilds
Yeah.
on his own,
Yeah.
hunting animals.
And then
beasts.
he was found, pretty sure he was found unconscious.
Not unconscious, as far as I know.
Or it was something to do with, like, a dead beast was next to him or something like that. That he'd taken it down.
He'd just killed a Calibanite lion.
Which are, like
lions, but warped.
Yeah.
Not warped as in like literal the warp.
Yeah. That's pretty epic. I mean...
Yeah, but you're not even done, darling. That's not it.
You're going to have to fill me in.
That's just the beginning. That's like... That's the opening credits to the rest of his movie.
Okay.
For his background. Because he gets discovered that, this feral child, so think Tarzan. But 40k Tarzan.
Oh, God,
Okay,
yeah.
so mental guy in the forest killing animals. Gets discovered by literal knights on horseback wearing basically a low level power armor.
Yeah.
So this is not like medieval knights, but it is like medieval knights but with tech armor.
Yeah.
But still riding horses. Pick him up, decide to take him on and try and retrain him, teach him language and stuff like that. They raise him to turn him into a knight. He then becomes the best knight of them all because he's a Primarch.
Of course.
Becomes super tall, ends up becoming the master of the order, manages to unite all of the knight houses on his world. And then on top of that, decides that now he's in charge of all the knights, that he is going to lead a crusade against all of the mutant monsters on his homeworld and wipe them out.
Which he does.
Which he does.
Yeah. That's a movie.
Not is that a movie, but that is potentially S tier quality.
I'm seeing a 3-movie contract right there.
I mean, I don't know about that, but yeah, you've got cinematically it's going to be epic. You've got the feral child, which in Primarch terms is probably a feral 20-year-old. You've got the raising to become a knight. You've got the montage of him, training and learning language and going from the scruffy kid with, probably knee-length hair to, cropped and prim knight, getting his armour on the first time, uniting the knights, and then marching out on crusade against the beasts. It's all there. I don't know how emotionally impactful it is.
Oh, I'm emotionally impacted right now.
I mean, maybe I'm just a little bit less emotional than you are, but.
Well, I mean, the transition alone from him going from a feral kid who doesn't know anything else but to kill is to hunt, is to live.
To me, my argument to that though is that's just nature. And that's not the same emotional impact as, say, the Khan story of his people getting wiped out and his family being slaughtered in front of him. That's not the same. It's not the same. It's not on the same level.
But I still think...
It's still going to be high. It's still going to be decent points. I just don't think it's going to be 10 out of 10. Which means he straight away isn't S tier. I think he's 10 out of 10 in cinematics.
Yeah.
I don't... But 10... Relatability, no, he's not 10 out of 10. Him or his background is... Because... He's barely human. He learns to speak and he learns to interact with people, but he struggles with them and he doesn't understand them.
He's very... In my understanding of it, he comes across as almost on the spectrum. He's...
Oh, without doubt.
The lion is the spectrum. He's definitely, he's stoic, but not in the same way as Ferris Malice. He's stoic because he's been used to being unfeeling unless he's hunting or unless he's, he's fighting for his survival.
I think he's A tier. But
I don't think he's higher than Angron, though.
No, he's not.
I think Angron's story...
I think he's just after Angron.
Yeah. That sounds good to me. And then we've got Mr. Clean.
Lorgar.
Yeah. Oh no, right, okay. So obviously, I don't like Lorgar for obvious
No
reasons.
one likes Lorgar.
However, I would argue that Lorgar has one of the most tragic backstories. Because Lorgar gets brutally beaten and
he's
absolutely brainwashed by the person
abused,
that adopted him.
He's abused and brainwashed. However, his backstory cinematically is not great.
No.
I mean, it does depend how we define cinematic, I suppose. I mean, I have seen some fantastic TV shows and stuff based on that kind of storyline. Or at least that kind of vibe. So, The Borgias, for example, is a great series which you've never seen.
I haven't.
And I almost feel like Lorgar's story could be the Borgias of the 40k. Slightly different in ways. Those who have seen it will know what I'm talking about, potentially. So, cinematically, it could work, but it would have to be very well done.
And careful.
Which means that for me, his cinematic rating could be a 10. But it's probably...
a 5.
It's probably going to be a 5 if it's ever done. But it could be a 10. So I want to split the difference and give him a 7.5.
Okay.
Emotionally as well, yeah, I think you're right. There is some tragedy in that storyline, and it is sad to think that he could have been so much better.
Oh, he could have been so much more, yeah.
I think one of the most sad things about him, though, is he was always corruptible. Like, no matter where he would have ended up, I think it's just part of his DNA almost.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think relatability...
Down the floor for me. There's always no relatability with Lorgar. He's an utter moron.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, if you've experienced any type of abuse, then there's always going to be that little bit of, I get that. But I don't think I relate that much to him.
I want to put him in C with Conrad.
Yeah, I think that, I love Conrad, and I'm very biased when it comes to my goth boy, but I think that Lorgar's, what he went through with his adoptive father and the Order, I think he's probably ahead of him in C tier.
I'd rather watch a well-made Lorgar series than a well-made.
Oh, I'd watch both of them, but yeah, I get what you mean.
I'd watch them all. My point is what I prefer.
Yeah.
And I think if you had the same quality of director and the same quality of or same budget, I would probably watch. Let's say you've got a high quality, high budget film and a low quality, low budget film.
Mm-hmm.
The high quality one, I'd rather watch Lorgar over Kurz. But in low quality, I prefer to watch Kurz over Lorgar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think you could do more with less with Comrades, but you do a lot more with Lorgars.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense.
So yeah, I think they're both in C, and I think they're pretty close. But I obviously I'd always prefer the higher quality, so I'm going to say Lorgars beats it out.
Yeah.
Magnus.
The only thing I know about Magnus's beginning is when the Emperor told him to massacre his sons. That's all I remember about his...
Again, that is not his backstory.
No, so you're going to have... This is another one you're going to have to tell me because I don't know.
So, Magnus was discovered on Prospero, a planet of sorcerer scholars. People who knew about the warp, maybe not by that name, but they knew about the warp, they knew about magic or psychic abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they kind of found this red-skinned child and thought it was some kind of basic miracle kind of thing. So they took him in and raised him, and he was taught all of the arts and the magics and stuff like that. And obviously, being Magnus, he picked it up faster than the masters did, and
because he's amazing.
Within years, basically, was a master of every discipline.
Yeah.
He was the prodigal child of Prospero, and his only real sort of challenge during his time on Prospero was that a group of Xenos creatures that actually fed on psychic power attacked Prospero, and he led a war against them basically and won. Yeah, that's kind of it really. There's not it's Magnus's story doesn't pick up until the heresy, really.
Yeah.
So cinematically, I don't like as a spectacle. You could probably make something of it because magic.
Yeah.
But in terms of story, I don't think there's a lot there. Like it would make a good opening to a Magnus movie.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want the movie to be about his backstory.
No, yeah, I get that. Is he going to be another D tier?
No, I think he's C.
Low C.
Low C. Because his story is not as boring as the other three in C, in D even. I think his backstory is a little bit more interesting because you still get the cool visuals of Prospero, because Prospero is like this beautiful world with think Egyptian pyramids but made of glass. Like how beautiful that would look, amazing. So cinematically, like the visuals would be great, and obviously you get magic as well thrown in there and all these cool things.
Yeah, of course.
Relatability wise, I mean, it's quite relatable. Kid grows up, goes to school. It's quite relatable, really. And he's quite a nice guy, really. Magnus is quite a cool person. You'd quite like to know him. Like the Stephen Fry, if you like, of the Primarchs. He's the smart dude that everyone loves.
And he's cute.
Sure. But then there's nothing really emotionally gripping. So I would say C.
Okay.
But low C. Which is a shame because Magnus is again probably one of my top, either my favourite or second favourite Primarch.
Trying to figure out who that is now.
I'm not gonna lie though, I've become a massive fan of the card recently.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I'm actually getting to a point now where I'm a little bit worried that I almost prefer the card over Alfaris, which is kind of scary.
You're gonna start a White Scars army?
Nah.
Bikers.
I mean, bikers are cool.
Who is that? That Mortarion.
That is Morty.
So he got dropped on a toxic world.
You did.
He adapted to be able to. Well.
Wow, you're missing some stuff that will probably hit your emotional heartstrings.
Yeah, I can smell an S tier with this one.
I don't know. I'd go as far as an S tier, but we'll let you decide.
Okay.
So he lands on the planet, and he is discovered by an entity, a person, shall we say, who raises him basically as well. He basically gets raised by a creature called a master, I think, or something like that. They're basically necromancer aliens or Xenos.
Wonderful, right?
They mess with the dead.
Lovely.
And he's raised as the son of a Xenos.
Oh.
And he is taught to basically, and this planet where these Xenos rule, this toxic wasteland, has humans on it, and the humans are the downtrodden slaves of these Xenos masters, who are psychic necromancers. And eventually Mortarion obviously discovers that he's actually human and decides to turn against his father and, start a rebellion. And basically leads the humans to fight, and eventually gets to a point where he's ready to, climb the mountain and take out his father. this is when the Emperor turns up, and the Emperor then says, you know, I'll let you try to kill your father, but if you fail, if I think you're about to die, I'm gonna intervene and stop it. And of course, Morty doesn't quite make it to the throne room, and therefore the Emperor steps in and kills his father, and Morty hates him for it because it was his kill to claim. Yeah. That's a very abridged version.
I'm not very enamoured by that, to be honest.
No.
Not really.
Okay.
The only redeeming thing is being brought up by a creature, but that's about it.
I think cinematically it's quite cool. I think that you could make quite a cool story of, you know, this, you know, child raised by what he thinks is his father turns out to be a evil necromancer, and then raises a rebellion on a.
I mean, emotionally, that's
emotional, quite tragic.
That's pretty
and dark.
effed up, to be honest. The fact that he was lied to for his entire life. Like, damn.
Yeah, I think he's scoring decently in cinematics and emotion, but relatability wise, I don't feel it.
Yeah. B.
Yeah. I would say probably. Personally, I would say top of B, actually, but I'd be happy to at least put him in front of Ferris.
Yeah, I think he's probably in the middle of Corvus and Ferris. We've got 4 to go.
Perturbabe is, I've got to be honest, the only one I don't know anything about, really.
I don't know anything about him either.
So I'm going to apologise to anyone watching this, because I'm going to put him in D because I don't remember his storyline.
Yeah, I don't remember
Which either means his storyline is that boring I don't remember it, or that I've just never read it for some reason. I'm gonna just assume that I've read it and didn't find it very interesting, so he's going in D, same as Dawn.
I have a feeling he's probably along the same lines as Dawn anyway.
He might have had a more interesting backstory, so anyone who does know more about Perturbabe, feel free to moan at us in the comments and we'll go and read it, and maybe we'll posthumously raise him up.
Yeah.
The Wolf.
Demon of the Rusk.
The Demon of the Rus.
Wasn't he found integrated in a pack of wolves?
He was raised by wolves.
Yeah, he was raised by wolves.
He was raised by wolves.
Personally, I think that's pretty fucking cinematic.
Sure, I mean, basically his whole backstory is he's raised by wolves, gets found by people, becomes the king of the Vikings, and kills some big monsters. Sure. Yeah, it's...
But I feel like that's like a really good setup for like the comic relief character.
Oh, I don't know about comic relief.
In like a bigger movie.
I don't know about comic relief. Russ is not very funny. No, cinematically it's gonna look quite cool.
Yeah.
Would I get bored though? Eventually, because it's probably gonna be way over the top. Probably. Like I'm a big Vikings fan, but even I think Russ is too much.
Yeah.
Emotionally, there's no emotional grip for that story whatsoever. Relatability as well, there's not a lot in it. I don't know about you, but I wasn't raised by wolves. Or as a Viking, much to my chagrin. But I don't think he's scoring very highly for background. I think, yes, it would look kind of cool, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm saying C. Right next to Magnus, which you'll hate. And I would put him probably ahead of Magnus. But only just.
Go on then.
Sanguinius.
Pretty sure he was found alone in a desert on Baal, wasn't he?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't honestly think there's a whole lot written about his backstory, or at least I don't remember a whole lot.
No, that's only the bit I remember, and also that he may or may not have been a little bit of a vampire.
No, he wasn't. Not really, anyway. Not like his sons.
Wow.
No, he's not a blood drinker or anything like that.
I think Sanguinius is much more remembered for the guy that he was after the Emperor rather than before.
I mean, the only thing I really remember about his backstory was that he was the leader of Baal in the end. I know that
he was immediately treated like he was a god.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he was basically worshipped on his homeworld, and when the Emperor arrives, Sanguinius knew who he was because he already had visions about him.
Yeah.
So his the key moment I remember from his backstory is when the Emperor arrives, this winged angel basically submits to him immediately. It's not a lot there.
No, not really.
Again, I might just not be remembering his backstory very well, which is a shame because I love Sanguinius.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot. I think he potentially is down to D.
Yeah. I think he's probably in the middle of Fulgrim and Guilliman.
Can I put him at the front just because I feel like I'm wronging Sanguinius?
Yeah, go on then. We'll be nice. We'll be nice.
I just feel like I can't put Sanguinius that low and not at least have him in the top of the D section.
So the last one then, to close, is
Vulcan.
The only thing I remember about Vulcan's backstory is the whole salamander thing with the Emperor when he first arrives.
Yeah, that's pretty much his only real backstory.
Yeah. I remember...
It's a good opening scene.
Yeah, I remember him being very loved and very caring about the people around him, and that he had like a good support system. But that's about it. I don't really know anything
else. His backstory isn't that well fleshed out from what I remember. It's pretty much, he takes over a planet, Emperor comes down, they do some trials, the Emperor wins, he bows.
And then becomes the nicest guy in the entire...
But he was already a nice guy.
Yeah, but he becomes the nicest of the Primarchs. Apart from probably the Khan.
Khan's not nice.
No? Sanguinius then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And Fulgrim
I think Vulcan's... It's basic... To be honest, Vulcan is basically the same as Russ, because Russ has the whole... drinking competition and fighting competition with the Emperor as well. I mean, their two stories are very similar. I think Lehman's probably is going to look better though.
Yeah.
So I think Vulcan's C as well.
Yeah. Although I don't...
Header back.
I think he's probably behind Magnus, personally.
Really? I definitely need to be ahead of Magnus. I suppose not. Because at least Magnus has a bit more story around it.
And he's a little bit more charismatic.
I don't know. I love Magnus, but I think Vulcan might be a little bit more charismatic than Magnus.
But so that is our list.
That is our list.
So the only person we have put in S tier is the Great Khan. Now, out of everybody... The one person I am surprised at that is not in S tier is Horus.
Yeah, but that's
get
because the best
why.
part of his story is actually after.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I probably would if I were to move anyone, I would probably shift Angron into S.
Yeah.
Like in terms of backstories, I think the Khan and Angron probably have the best.
Yeah. Tragic, but yeah.
Yeah. Their backstories are just... They are movies.
It's quite funny, actually. I just worked it out in my head. So, at the top, we've got the Khan.
Mm.
At the bottom, we've got Perturabo. But then do you know who's slap bang in the middle? Conrad. He's the midpoint, pretty much. I think it might be between him and Lehman.
No, Lorgar's dead on middle.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, because Lorgar's number 9.
There you go then. So Lorgar, one of the most hated men in the entire 40k universe, is the midpoint.
He's the most mid.
He's Mr. Clean, just with a couple runes on his forehead.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. That is our Primarch tier list, which took quite a while actually.
I think we were having fun discussing it. I think
We were.
But it is probably time that we.
I think it is
sign
well and
off
truly time
now.
that we sign off now. We have been going for quite some time.
Yeah. Again.
So I didn't notice that there was a chat message in there. I don't know when that appeared. Because I was on the other screen. But thank you for whatever that is. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. So anyway, that is us pretty much done.
Yeah, I think we will probably call that for today.
Yeah, I think that is us done. We've had some fun. We've discussed Primarchs to the nth degree there. Certainly their backstories. I've painted up a few Night Lords there, which I'm not going to bother bringing right up to the screen, to be honest, because one, I've already shown them off, and two, it takes ages to get the camera focused. So yeah, 20 Night Lords with missile launchers painted. Plenty of Primarchs ranked. I'm a little bit concerned about how much I enjoy the Khan now. It's becoming a problem.
Are you going to start sporting a Mongolian haircut?
No, I mean I'm halfway there anyway.
You are halfway there, to be honest. Yeah.
No, I am falling in love with the Khan and the White Scars. They are becoming a favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might see a little Legions White Scars army then, maybe.
I don't know. They don't really. I don't know that they fit in with the rest of my armies. But they are cool. But I don't know how I feel about painting white.
Yeah, have fun with that. But anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As Jamie said earlier, streams will be on Thursday evenings. I will probably be here for the majority of them. If not, we'll do a second stream where I can chew your ear off for a little while.
Mm-hmm. And then when you're not here on the Thursdays, I've got a monologue.
Yeah.
And entertain without you.
You'll be fine.
I've done it quite a few times now.
Yeah.
Right, well, thank you very much. That is all from us at Mead Hall Gaming, and this has been the Hobby Hall. I've been your host for the day, Jay, and I've been joined by the lovely
Elle, and please make sure you like, subscribe, and share our channel. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, so make sure you keep up to date with all of our social bits and pieces just so you don't miss out on anything.
And don't forget, our primary content is on YouTube, so go and follow us over there, where you can find all of our previous streams, and this one will be up as well. So if you've missed the beginning or just want to rewatch, go ahead. It's all there. Well, this one will be there, just not yet.
Not yet.
Last weekend's one will go up at some point this weekend. So, generally speaking, I'm going to try and release them a week after they go live. So that's generally how it will be. So yeah, thank you very much. We will see you next time in the Mead Hall. Bye bye for now.
Bye!